Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Friday.
Yeah.
And we're doing our regular Friday thing.
Yep. We're getting you guys ready for the weekend. Whether you're staying in or you're going out or whatever, we're going to fucking warm it up. Some of you guys are just fucking commuting. Or a lot of people fucking listen to us when they're commuting. So, you know, either way, fucking we'll hook you up. We're going to get you ready for this weekend. Just sit back and relax. Just sit back and relax. Fucking get your popcorn. Let us fucking ride through this. I was at the biker bar already, so I pre-gamed a little bit.
Yeah. I'm only just now getting started.
Amy poured me 2 doubles, and fucking somebody bought one of those doubles for me, so I only had to pay for 1 double. And Amy's charged me a price for a single because that's how she is. And so I gave her a $10 tip.
She loves you.
Yeah. She had her boobs out and everything today. All them girls were taking their clothes off.
Well, like completely out.
That's how it is. Fucking right there, trying to flash shit, fucking, you know, between each other. They get drunk. Those fucking biker women, you know, they're like the Klingons. Like those Klingon women. You may not want to see it. You don't really want to see it half the time. You're like, nah. But they just do what they want to do.
Well, I mean, isn't
a lot of those guys are in their 60s and shit, so they're just happy to see anything, you know.
Isn't that kind of always the way? Like, everybody always gets excited when they're younger. It's like, ooh, let's go to the nudist beach, and then it's like a bunch of people that you wouldn't want to take.
You don't want to see them over
like, it's a bunch of like old, fat, saggy people.
Yeah. Half the time.
Which, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know.
We got Louis. Mr. Hernandez is in the chat.
Yeah, have you been in the show? I feel like this was the first time in the chat, and we tried to like
we were telling about
we wanted
movies.
to thank you specifically for sending us Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, and we did Reservoir Dogs already. We're gonna do Pulp Fiction here. We're gonna see that probably tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll probably review that Sunday. And then also we had a request to do the Hateful Eight as well, so we'll probably do that on Tuesday, I imagine. Because, like, next week is Christmas week, so we'll kind of figure out. I wanted to kind of do some Christmassy horror movies if I have time. I was like, I feel like I've just gotten so behind. I guess it happened, like, because of Thanksgiving, I guess, and it's like I got behind with a couple of videos, and now I'm, like, behind with a bunch of videos, so I've just gotten to a point where I'm like, whatever, like whenever we do them, because honestly we should have put up you know, our movie retrospective on Chinatown. That was supposed to get recorded today, but it didn't happen.
We kind of ran out of time for it, and I was like, man, I need to go to the fucking bar.
He needs to go to the bar.
I have shit I gotta do, you know what I mean?
He's got shit he's gotta do. He's gotta go to the bar.
I gotta go to the bar. I gotta see who's out tonight. But today, it's daytime shit. That biker shit's daytime shit. A lot of times.
But we'll try and do
Friday and Sunday.
We'll try and do it over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a video on because you know I've been doing over on my Scare Salon channel. If you're not subscribed over there. I've been doing my top 5 favorite horror movies from every year since I was born. So I've been wanting to do, I got to do the 1979 one. So I want to have to put that up sometime this weekend, maybe. And I'm a couple weeks behind on book reviews as well. I'm in the middle of reading one right now. I'm probably about 60% of the way in it. And I had another book of like Christmas horror stories called Bah Humbug that I wanted to read, like, and put up right around Christmas time. So hopefully I'll get to that. But it's just the one that I'm reading now. It's really good, but it's just like don't have like a lot of time to read it, and it's kind of long. So I'll eventually get around to it. But I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying not to like beat myself up about like being behind on everything, because it's just I'm the only one that, you know, has the schedule for them up, and then, you know, it's hard for me to just be like, oh well, I can just put them up whenever
David Parker's
they're
with us.
done.
Our friend David Parker. I don't know. Are you going to Mannequins tonight? We're probably
he says Mannequins tonight. Yeah.
We're probably not going out tonight. I don't think we're not going out. Money's too tight. I think.
I am
Money's
broke as shit.
Money's too tight.
And I mean, like, really broke.
Because if we go out there, we're gonna spend $100.
Yeah, and it's like that is $100 I absolutely do not have. So you know what I mean. Oh, and Tammy is here as well. And this afternoon we got this awesome Christmas card from Miss Tammy.
Yeah, I'm just finding out about this now. I wasn't here for this.
Well, yeah, it just came in the mail like this afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's got a little Grinchy on it. I never realized that the Grinch had little belly pockets. Look at that.
Anything?
See?
He's got pockets on his belly?
He's got pockets on
Okay.
his belly. That's pretty
He's got a
convenient.
place to put his change, you know.
Right, and his
Yeah.
keys and whatnot, and his cell
Yeah.
phone.
Grinch.
The Grinch's cell phone. But yeah, should we read it? It
Yeah,
doesn't say.
if you
It doesn't say anything embarrassing. Or
Okay,
anything
go ahead.
like that. Well, I mean, this is just like a quote. It's like every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. So she says, wishing the two of you the best holiday season, and may your channels only grow and your money grow more.
Yeah, I hope that money goes.
I mean, from your lips to God's ears, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Thanks for the many hours of entertainment and even more laughter, and a loving hello to Pookie and Beijing.
Thank you.
From your loyal fan and supporter always, Miss Tammy.
Appreciate
So
it.
thank you very
Pookie's
much.
right
That
there.
is really, really sweet.
Pookie's right there. Pookie, say thank you. Okay. She blinked. Thank you. Blinking is yes, or I love you, or thank you. It's something. Blinking is just a response. How you doing? Blink. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although she does talk. If you like say something to her, she'll say something back to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially if she's pissed. She wants in the closet. And you're saying no. She's no. No, she fucking screams no. She was screaming no today.
Really?
Well, you saw it.
I heard you. Well, that was last night.
It was last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last night. She was
I was gonna
screaming
say, I wasn't
no, because I wouldn't let her in. Yeah.
Well, because if you let her in, she tears up your shoes.
Yeah. She just goes in there to try to rape fucking shoes and boots. And you tell her, no, don't do it. And she just looks dead at you. I'm going to do it. I got to do it.
I can't stop.
She'll tear up.
It's addiction.
She'll tear up fucking $400 pair of new rack boots. Yeah.
But she at least has the sense to go around the back because she thinks that you can't see her.
Yeah, she did that yesterday.
Yeah.
She went around the back. She's like, I said, don't do it. She's, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it.
You can't see it.
You can't see me. I'm
Yeah,
over on the
she's
other
trying-
side of
yeah,
the boots,
yeah.
even though you can clearly see what
Clearly
she's
see
doing.
it.
She's smart, but she's not
Yeah.
that smart.
Tries to play it off.
She's always like surprised when she
Yeah.
realizes that you can see her like up to her nefarious deeds.
Everybody's still piling in. And today is Friday.
It is, yeah.
Another Friday. And on Fridays, it's kind of like open lines. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. You can just drop questions in the chat room, in the chat, and we'll talk about it. Could be anything. If you got questions, about any of the cases that we covered, any personal questions about fucking the kind of shit we like to do or habits or whatever, we can talk about that. If you have any questions about fucking fitness or fucking steroids or guns or motorcycles, anything like that, I can get on that. Just, it's open lines. You guys know the deal. It's open lines.
Yeah,
You can ask our opinions on anything.
Can I just say, speaking of fitness, but in a very, very oblique kind of way, I don't know if you saw that ridiculous ass movie that I was watching on Rifftrax last night.
I saw bits of it.
Oh my!
It looked like something I fucking would have liked when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it was called Deadly Prey.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the dude that was. It was clearly kind of like a Rambo ripoff, sort of. Yeah. It was like mercenaries, and then like the guy, like this guy who used to be in the mercenaries, or used to be in the guy that ran the mercenaries. He got kidnapped.
Yeah.
For reasons. And then they were like hunting him for sport or for training or something like that. Except he kicked all their asses.
It sounds like a Rambo ripoff.
And he just like but he ran around like the entire time like with his glistening pecs and also like with some cut off denim shorts.
Okay, yeah.
Like he didn't even like ever put any clothes on. And it's like so funny because like the Rifftrax guys are like. He's like all the dudes he killed. It's like you'd think that he would at least like take a poncho or something, but it's like he never did. He just ran around barefoot with like.
Did he have a bandana tied around his head?
He did not, but he had a pretty sweet mullet with kind of like a really bad he had
like a Jerry
really Claw? It was like roots. You know what I mean? Like he had bleached it at some point in the past, but he hadn't bleached it for a while, so it was kind of like. Dark, blonde, but not like it was frosted, like not on purpose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit was supposed to be fucking styling. Supposed to be styling.
I mean, everybody had mullets in this movie. I don't know what. It was.
We
didn't
even call it a mullet. It was just hair.
We didn't call it a mullet. It was just hair.
Yeah, that's why we were ignorant to it. We were ignorant to the mulletfication of the planet. It had been immullified.
Sorry, I just had like a really funny mental image of like the Earth with a big mullet on, like, on top of it.
We didn't know.
Oh my god. Yeah, you should. For some reason, like, I like all the Riff Tracks movies that they do, but for some reason, like, the 80s ones and the 70s ones are funny too, but it's like the 80s ones are usually like the most entertaining, at least to me.
Mullets.
Yeah.
Funny.
But I just like
black people had mullets. That's how bad it was.
Everybody did.
Yeah,
well, I didn't have a mullet.
Rick James had a mullet with beads.
Everybody had a mullet. Speaking of personal questions, David June says, does Tom ever bust out the BTK voice in the bedroom? If so, how quick does Jenny run away?
No, I never think of BTK.
I don't think you've ever done that.
No.
I don't think you've ever done that.
I never think of BTK until you guys mention it on the show. That's the only time I ever think about it. Oh, he's lying. He's always thinking of me.
You wish, Dennis.
Yeah.
That bitch still alive, right?
Yeah.
I ask that every single time, don't I?
You know, I could always use some money to send to my store account. Buy some cigarettes. Trade them. Yeah.
Trade them for what, Dennis?
Ass.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. Boy pussy.
It's so early,
Fucking
too. Well,
Dennis.
you've already been drinking, so that's probably why.
Fucking Dennis.
Fucking Dennis. No one's fucking Dennis.
Yeah, fucking Dennis is
No
fun,
one
man.
should fuck Dennis.
Those pictures of Dennis that he took of himself in fucking women's underwear down in the ground. What was he fucking thinking, man? That motherfucker crazy. He thought that was some sexy shit.
Yeah, it's a little, you know.
Oh, that wasn't me.
All right.
Dennis, why are you getting in the ground, man? Fucking and women's stockings and shit. Fucking garters and fucking Merry Widow fucking shit, you know? Fucking, oh, that wasn't me. That was an impersonator. Now somebody pretending to be me. I didn't do that. You believe anything. CIA set me up.
Yeah. That sounds like some shit.
That was FBI.
Okay. John Smith said, can anyone actually pull off a mullet?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't really know. I can't really think of... I mean, some of the less mullety mullets.
Yeah,
like
Andrew
that,
Eldridge from the Sisters of Mercy.
that were like more on the new wave end of the spectrum. Like some of those looked okay. Like they weren't great, but they looked better than once they got super ridiculous, where it was just kind of like super short in the back, and then it was like really long and fluffy, like in the back.
The main mullet. Okay, the fucking mullet by which all other mullets were fucking judged.
The mullet Nate Plus Ultra.
The fucking the what do you call it? The central mullet. The
platonic ideal.
The mullet at the center of the galaxy was the fucking mullet that the lead singer of the Kajagoogoo's had. Remember that mullet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was kind of a modified. Well, I guess technically it was
that was a
mullet.
new wave mullet.
It was a spiky mullet.
It was spiky on the top. It was black and it had fucking blonde ends to it.
Like frosted tips.
Yeah, and it was long in the back and short on the side. Just look at the fucking Kajagoogoo fucking the Too Shy video.
Yeah. Lamal, that guy's name was.
Lamal was his name.
Well, because he did some solo stuff later, because didn't he do that song, like, The Never-Ending Story? Like, that was the theme of that movie.
Yeah, but that dude had a fucking serious mullet. Serious.
Isabella says Ziggy Stardust. There you go.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah. I think the guy from Kajagoogoo was copying that, kind of. I think. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I think technically the spikier mullets looked better than like the fluffy curly mullets.
Yeah. What had happened,
just as a general rule.
What had happened in that era, short hair you were supposed to have long hair. Short hair kind of meant that you were lame. You were kind of like military or something. So you weren't supposed to have anything short. So if you were a rock star or something that wanted to have short hair, part of it had to be long. So what part was going to be long? It was going to be long in the back. So that way you could have short hair and long hair at the same time. You could have short hair and not be accused of having short hair. See?
Yeah.
You can have long hair and have short hair.
Yeah, you were covering all your bases.
Yeah. Now, that girl fucking had the perfect mullet, the one with the fucking white mullet.
Who, Amy Mann from Till Tuesday?
Yeah, Till Tuesday. You know exactly what I was talking about. What was the name of that song that fucking in that video?
Voices Carry.
Voices Carry. That's right.
She also had that rat tail.
Had a rat tail in it.
That was also very common in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like in the new wave set.
Yeah. And it actually looked cute on her.
It did actually.
It looked real cute.
Like on some people it looks stupid as hell. But well, it's just kind of like anything. Like, you know, not everything looks good on everybody. Like on her that hair looked really good.
Yeah.
But I saw some other people that wore it like that it didn't look good.
It was cut right.
Yeah.
It was the right color. And she had the right kind of face for it. And it was just it had been around for a while, and it was a goth mullet, basically.
Yeah. A gullet.
A gullet.
Yeah. As we call it. No, we don't call it that. I just made that up.
Yeah, that voices carry.
Remember A Starry Night covered that song?
Yeah.
Like a couple years back.
Yeah, well, their label told them to cover that song.
Yeah.
So we had to have a cover. And they were like, a cover? And they chose that one.
Yeah.
They had a couple choices.
It was good. It was good. I liked their version of it actually. It was pretty good. John Smith says, "Gotta wonder what the other criminals think of Dennis in jail. Do they think he's a bit weird and keep a distance?"
No, they wouldn't be scared of that dude.
Well, I don't even know. Not even so much scared of him as like not wanting to deal with his bullshit. I could see that.
He's probably got some kind of a job in prison. And he walks around with a lot of self-importance, and they probably well respected. I'll jump at working at the library or something. Oh yeah, that's Dennis Rader. Oh, he's smart. You know, that's probably.
He thinks he is.
Yeah. He's famous. That's probably how they're gonna think about it.
Yeah, maybe he's like an aspirational figure. How fucked up would that be?
Yeah. Those guys are all graded on a curve, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, David June. Giving us some monies.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Always love a Dennis cameo.
Yeah.
See, there you go. You don't do it that much anymore. But like you said, you have to be channeling it.
Yeah.
I think it helped that you already drank before we started.
I actually don't like channeling fucking Dennis.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's not any fun. He's not fun. Just, it doesn't feel fun to channel that dude because you could tell he's not fun. Yeah.
Well, that to me, that's what makes it funny.
Yeah, he's not. No.
Is that he's just like
a
so.
Stick in the mud.
Yeah, but that's what's funny to me.
He's a stickler.
Yeah. And that's why I think you should make fun of him all the more.
He's gonna stickle a motherfucker. You know your grass is supposed to be 3 inches high. This grass is 3 1/4 inch high. Yeah, it's not gonna work. You know.
Taking your dog.
It's a lot more fun to channel fucking Steve Seagal. Seagal's a lot more fun to channel. I gotta be in the mood for him though. You know. And you gotta do fucking Seagal while he's fucking. I like to channel Seagal while he's either pissed or sexual. Hey, one, two. You know, baby. Every time I have you here in my pool, all I'm thinking of is an Asian experience, baby. Yeah. Your cachacha and my huapa. Your kuchacha and my wazir. It's just gonna be magic. Come here and have a drink with me, baby. You get down there in the pool. I'm just gonna stay up here. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna say, oh, it's beautiful, baby. Yeah. He's like fucking 50 and out of shape, and fucking she's like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
She's
having
like,
his Asian experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay all your bills, baby. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I don't know. John Smith says, Lamal from Kajagoogoo, my ex-boss used to date him back in the 80s. Well, I say date, I think hooked up a few times, which in the 80s gay scene was a long-term relationship, sure. Blaster One said, Dennis is hated in jail. He's always telling screws shit and giving up people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, he tries.
That's very on brand for him.
Yeah. He's gonna try to be an authority in there. Oh no, I'm not a prisoner. I'm one of the guards. I'm in charge of you guys.
I run this shit.
Yeah, I run this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm keeping you guys locked up for the betterment of the community. We can't let you guys go.
Yeah, that sounds like some shit you would think.
And if I keep you guys locked up, they'll let me out.
How old's that motherfucker now?
He's got to be in his 60s now, easy.
I would have thought he would be older than, like, way older than that.
Yeah,
maybe
he's
70s.
Yeah, he's probably a ratting people out.
Yeah, like I said, that figures.
Trying to keep people under control in prison. He having authority. Yeah.
John says Seagal now needs a crane to get in or out of the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of... It's just like one of those crane machines at Chuck E. Cheese.
Seagal needs a body double to sit in the folding fucking lawn chair on the side of the pool. Yeah. I tell you, is it okay if I need to get my stunt double in here? Yeah, you lay here. I'll be over here. We'll just voice it in later. Zoom in on my face. I'll deliver the line, and then do it from the back. Just shoot him from the back.
Because he can't lay down in
No.
chair.
Well, he lays down, but it looks fucked up. You know what I mean? Fucking belly up here.
And then he can't get back
Look like a walrus laying there, you know?
Then he can't, like, reach over to lift up his margarita or
whatever. Yeah.
You see what happened when I rolled over to grab the margarita, when I'm talking about the Asian experience, you can see that I'm not looking my best. I'm looking a little overweight. Can we get my stunt double in here to roll over and reach for the margarita? Just shoot it. Nobody will know.
Yeah, he's doing the voiceover for it. It's fucking fun. And he's going to do the black voiceover. All right. It's when Steven Seagal talks to somebody black, he tries to become black. Hey, y'all. You know, fucking trying to get super fucking southern sounding and shit. That's a motherfucker that would carry hot sauce around in his pocket if he was going to go hang out with black people. Steven Seagal is just... He's from Michigan, and he's Jewish. But he's just whatever ethnic group he's talking to.
He's a chameleon.
He's
a citizen of the world.
He's just whatever. He's Cajun. He's black. He's fucking Japanese. He's Chinese. I've seen him do. I've seen him go Chinese on people. You know, that motherfucker's a psycho. Only a fucking psycho fucking does that kind of shit. They were goofing on him back in the day on talk shows, where you could tell that the talk show host knew that he was fucking a fraud. He says, I thought you grew up in Japan. No. He didn't know. He doesn't know whether to lie or to tell the truth and shit. It's fucking funny. Yeah.
Well, see, that's what happens when you spend your whole entire life, like, making up crazy shit about yourself. You keep, like, forgetting, like, what lie you told to what person.
Yeah.
And then once people start comparing notes, then you get in trouble.
Yeah. He didn't go over too well on Saturday Night Live either, evidently. They said he was the worst guest.
Well, that was didn't they ban him from
they wouldn't let him
or something like that because he was like the literal worst.
Mm-hmm. Nobody could stand to be around him.
Well, I think we talked about that. We might have talked about that on our Bullshito show.
Yeah.
Where I think the story was he was doing some real fucked up thing like with one of the skits they were doing. I can't remember exactly.
They were kind of poking fun at him in the skit. He didn't want anybody making fun of him. That was part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The actor Cliff Curtis has played nearly every ethnicity on the planet. Was he the guy that was on Fear the Walking Dead? He's Maori, isn't he? That guy. He's been in like a bunch of movies, but I thought that's what he was. Yeah, Ben said people were ragging him in martial arts magazines for years. My favorite one was when he told everyone he was a martial arts instructor for the NYPD and the FBI SWAT teams.
Yeah. Like they need martial arts training. Yeah.
Well, and nowadays you can check, obviously,
yeah.
But back then I guess they just people were just suppose so.
It was a different world back in the day that Seagal appeared. It was a world of magazines. There was no internet.
A world of laughter.
It was just magazines.
Something.
And one of the greatest magazines for martial arts was fucking Black Belt. And fucking Black Belt magazine, I remember reading it as a fucking teenager up at 7-Eleven where we were playing fucking video games. Like playing Rastan and fucking Ghouls and Ghosts and Goblins and fucking Gauntlet and shit. We reach over there and fucking look at Black Belt magazine. And there'd just be all these wild claims. And we weren't sure what was true or what wasn't, Like, was throwing chi ball, was that a real thing? We don't know, Fucking Street Fighter came out and fucking hit the Hadouken, dude, fucking throwing fucking hurricane balls and shit. Maybe something like that was possible. You know, we weren't sure. There was no internet debunking mechanism at that time. I mean, we probably would have fallen for fucking Ashita Kim and his videos until we saw the video. Probably would have bought it though. Oh man, I got a video coming. It's gonna teach us all the ways of the fucking ninja.
And
really?
Yeah. And then you would have felt
man.
like profoundly ripped off.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking learn the ways of the ninja. We'll be able to move around. Nobody will ever fucking see us. All right. And then you get the shit. Basically, what it tells you is duck under the windows. Yeah. Duck under the window. When you run in a crouch. No one will see you. Man, what kind of shit is this, man?
Yeah, like kind of crawl around the ground like that. Like in the bush.
The biggest extent of Ashita Kim's fucking ninjutsu was throwing dirt in a motherfucker's eyes.
That's
Throw
right.
some dirt. Whoa, man, that's some magical shit there, man. Fucking theatricality, just like fucking Batman, Dark Knight. Theatricality, man. Fucking yeah, it works, man. It works to the uninitiated. I am initiated. Fucking, that's what fucking Bane said. I'm initiated. I've been in the League of Shadows and shit. It's just funny shit, you know, when you think about it.
I mean, people will put up with a lot just because they want to feel like special. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the mind of 15-year-old boys.
Right.
Okay? And sometimes that shit might actually go into the 20s and 30s depending on how crazy a motherfucker is. Like that damn fake martial arts master fucking who was throwing the chi balls, little fat boy. And all those fucking black belt magazines were stating that he was the real thing. Remember? And that and the History Channel went in there and debunked him. Fucking Dillman? No, George. What was that motherfucker's name? I think it was Dillman, wasn't it?
Dillman or Tillman?
Tillman or Dillman?
I can't remember now.
His whole dojo was fucking about throwing chi balls. It doesn't work.
Man, I wish I'd have come up with some bullshit
I think it was
like
George
that.
Tillman, I think it was.
Laster one says, how do you not need glasses, Tom, at your age? Mine started getting blurry at 40 years old.
No, to read, I do need glasses.
Yeah.
I can read without them, but it's harder.
Yeah, I need glasses to read too. Not to drive or anything like that, but
At the distance, my vision's perfect. It's just anything close, I have a hard time seeing.
Yeah, I can't really see my phone or like the screen or anything like that. Like it's all blurry.
Yeah.
I had really good vision until about, how long ago was it? Probably like 5 years ago.
There was one of the. I'll tell you what. For a while, there was fucking one of these fucking drugs that I was on. It was a SARM, a selective androgen. Fucking. What was it? Selective androgen. Something other modulator. I forgot exactly. Anyway, I forgot what SARM stood for. It was LD 4030. It was just a number. And after about 4 or 5 weeks of that, I could see perfectly up close. It corrected my vision until I stopped taking it and it wore off. It was weird.
That is pretty weird.
Yeah, I don't know how it did it. I guess it was that particular SARM was supposed to act kind of like a steroid that was similar to. Some people compared it to Dianabol. And it gave you a little bit more, it gave you more muscular strength. So I guess what it was doing is the muscles in my eyeballs were able to pull the lens closer in and get the proper focus for up close. But it was temporary. It only worked while I was on it. And the shit was expensive, and it wasn't something that you could really live on for very long. So didn't make a permanent change. And it wasn't something that you would want to be on a long time. It had side effects that were kind of unpleasant. A lot of testosterone suppression. I could probably be on it now that I was on testosterone replacement therapy because I'm always on test. I'm gonna be on test the rest of my life, which means I could probably take LD, but the cost it would really be worth. It's cheaper just to get reading glasses. You know?
I mean, you can get good reading glasses. For
like reading glasses, $20. You know? And that shit was like fucking $60 a month to be on it. So it really didn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I keep hoping because I don't have insurance or anything like that. So I just keep hoping. I said, well, I'll just keep buying stronger and stronger reading glasses until I'm totally blind, I guess. Auntie asks, what is your take on the Idaho student murders? I'd have to look into that because
I don't even recall that one.
Yeah, I've heard a case. I don't think we've done a show about that, and it's like I've heard of that, but I don't think we've ever done a show about it. So I'll have to get back to you on that because I don't know the details of it. Blaster One said, "What the fuck you on, Tom? You've been a guinea pig for new drugs." He's on all the drugs. All the drugs.
Well, I've done everything pretty much. Well, no, not everything. There's a lot of them I haven't done yet. Nothing I've done has been real exotic. I haven't really. The most exotic thing that I did do were some SARMs, but SARMs are really. The SARMs are kind of experimental, but what SARMs are is a replacement for steroids. But the problem is that steroids are fucking pretty good. They're a well understood compound, and they understand the safety parameters. They know everything pretty much about most of them. It's better to stick with things that have been around a long time that they know about than it is to get involved with fucking experimental stuff. The reason why they came up with SARMs is because, look, man, fucking drug companies are corrupt. The patents on steroids had run out, so they can't make any money off those anymore. They have to make up stuff that's new, that's like a steroid, something that they could patent, and then they could con doctors into prescribing, and they'd have a patent for it. They could make a bunch of money. It's better as a user just to go ahead and get well understood steroids that were been around since the 60s, and it's a lot safer. And there was a YouTube video just came out from some science people saying that everything we know about steroids is wrong. You can look at it on YouTube, and they got a damn metrosexual dude talking about it. Yeah, we're kind of wrong about steroids. Steroids are really good in anti-aging therapies. And they're, and he talks about it. But you can Google that but search that on YouTube. Everything we know about steroids is wrong. It's not long, about 10 minutes long, that video. And you'll see that in certain applications, that's the way to go. That's what you want to do. You can prolong life with them if you use them the right way, in the right dosage, the right ones. You just can't overdo it. You abuse them, that can fucking kill you. But we're not talking about abuse. That's with any drug. You abuse any drug, it can kill you.
That's true. A lot of things can kill you. If you drink too much water, it'll kill you. So
yeah.
Thank you very much. Trey gave us a super chat. Merry Christmas, guys. Yes, Merry Christmas. I kind of feel like, I guess next week will be the Christmas Sidetracks, because next Friday is what, the 23rd? Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar. Okay. Because I was sitting there thinking, I don't know what fucking day it is. And I'm just, I know what day it is, but I don't know what date it is, you know what I mean? And so I'm sitting there going, is this the last, Sidetracks for Christmas? I guess not.
Oh, I forgot to tell you.
What?
Tomorrow, at the bar, at 4, they're going to give out free prime rib for a Christmas party at if you want to go get it. I've had it before. It was good. They were giving out free prime rib. They had a party and they gave out.
Can I just take a big styrofoam box and stock up on it and then bring it back?
No, you got to go up there to the bar and you got to buy some drinks and just eat free prime rib. The food's good there.
Allie says, "I love you both, but Jenny, do you wish that Tom would do a separate program on fitness, etc.?"
No, it's not. I couldn't talk about it that much.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think the reason that that our channel's been going so long is because we'll just talk about fucking anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we never run out of topics, really.
From day one when we started this fucking show, it was a variety show, basically. And the idea was that we were kind of like online friends. That was the idea. It wasn't to teach you guys anything or to give you any information or anything like that. It was just to keep you occupied, and so you could have some online friends that you could listen to. We
kind of just wanted to talk about cool shit that we liked, like like movies we liked and like topics we were interested in and stuff like that. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hard Jaguar says the name for Tom's new show is Live from the Man Cave.
Live from the Man Cave. Now, if I were to have my own show, it would go down certain directions. It would get boring, and it would be nothing but a sausage fest. Anyway, it'd be just guys. That's what would end up happening.
Sorry, I had another funny like mental image of like the little thing with like all these little dicks.
All these little dicks
like,
had a festival.
Wee.
Yeah. And it would. That
was an animated movie, wasn't it? Sausage Party.
Yeah. I
kind of want to see that actually.
Probably be talking about military equipment and stuff, just the minutia of fucking military.
Yeah, he would nerd out about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't really like say because I do my on like book reviews and my movie reviews, and I nerd out about like horror movies and stuff. So it's kind of like the same.
Nerding out over fucking poncho liners and how when was the poncho liner invented and fucking how many bungee cords it should go with it and fucking it would be the years it would be very specialty. All right, it wouldn't be any good though.
John Smith said, I found y'all due to Jenny's review of House of Leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit, man. I've been wanting to like read. I don't know. I just feel like I feel like I did that review, and I'd been wanting to do it for such a long time because that was a book that I'd wanted to read. And then like I always feel like I didn't like cover everything I wanted to cover. I get like really weird like that. Allie also asked, "How's Pookie?" Yeah, she's doing good. She was here just a minute ago. You'll sometimes see her like her little stumpy tail run around in the back. You know what I mean? She likes to like run around in the background. Oh, and remember the other day when I said I got my YouTube like year in review that said like what the most watched videos were and stuff, and I said, I couldn't remember what the most watched one was this year, but I remembered the second one, which was like the Herb Baumeister Fox Hollow Farm one, and I was like, random. Yeah. I remembered what the first one was. The top one was my review of Threads, that British nuclear war movie from the 80s. You know how we had The Day After? Do you remember that movie from like 1983 or whatever it was? That's posited. It's fictional, but it posited like what would happen if the Ruskies like blew us up or whatever, with nuclear bombs. Well, the British had one too, but of course, because it was British, it was like way, way more realistic and bleaker. And it's pretty much a horror movie, even though it's like really realistic. So that's, for whatever reason, that was the channel's top watched video in this past year. Why? I don't know, but that's what it was. Kaylin Higgins said, have you thought about reviewing the Thomas Harris Hannibal collection, as in the books or the movies? I maybe could. I've actually read I read Silence of the Lambs for sure. I read Hannibal. Did I read Manhunter? Or like the one that Red Dragon? That's what Hannibal was based on, right? Red Dragon? I can't remember now. I've read most of them, but it's been like such a long time. I'd have to like sit down and watch or read them like all again. Young Hannibal is the other one. Leanne says, hello all, my first time here. Well, hey, welcome to this asylum of of craziness. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you like kind of spaced out for a minute because you stopped talking.
Yeah, let me go put some more ice in this.
John Smith said Threads is a bleak as hell movie. It really is. I mean, I've been hearing about it for such a long time, and I was really excited that Shudder added it, and I was like, one of these days I got to sit down and like watch this kind of shit, and I was like, well, now I'm depressed. But, you know. Yeah, Red Dragon was the first novel to feature Harris's character, Dr. Lecter. Yeah, I remember reading that. I don't even think we reviewed the movie Manhunter, and I've been wanting to do that one too. I think I remember I put it in the poll a couple times, but it didn't win. So, one of these days One of these days. I don't think I have Red Dragon. I do, like, the book. I have Silence of the Lambs in here somewhere, and I have Hannibal in here somewhere.
I got Hannibal.
No, I'm talking about the book.
Oh, the book?
Yeah. But I don't have Red Dragon in the book. I don't think. Cheryl says the Joe Bob Christmas special is on Shudder tonight at 9 p.m. Ooh. His Christmas specials are always good. Well, his Halloween specials are good too, but I didn't see the Halloween one this last year. But they're still there. Like, you can see them after. I particularly liked the one that he did with Jack Frost on it. The one with the killer snowman. That movie's fucking hilarious. I watched it again the other day, like the Riff Tracks one. Because it made me laugh so much. What are you two drinking? Joined late.
It's vodka.
It's vodka and lemonade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Poop? I was drinking tequila before this.
Oh, there's Pookie.
Yeah. Big old fat pumpkin.
She's not fat. Shut
She's
up.
getting fat. Yeah, you're getting fat.
She's like, shut up. I'm
You're
not
like
fat.
a big old fat little turkey.
Look at her little.
Look at her face. She's
Called her.
What?
He called her a little turkey.
Well, yeah, I've been calling her a turkey regularly. You're like a little turkey. You know that?
She's like, screw you,
You're
Dad.
fat, too. You grab her at the shoulders and then you go down to the belly and it gets big.
Aw.
You're like a little fucking fat little pumpkin. Yeah, you're getting fat. She doesn't go anywhere. Just runs around the house. And funny because she runs wide open, her belly will be swinging from right to left. When you see her go, the belly's fucking swinging. It's fucking funny.
Well, she's, like I said, she's a Manx, and they kind of have that little body type.
They have a pot belly anyway.
They have a little pot belly, like a little pouch, and they have, like, really short legs.
Yeah.
So, she's very round.
Yeah.
But she is very funny, like, the way, because she has those little bitty legs, and she kind of has this little run that she does, and her little belly just goes like that when she runs. It's super funny. I feel like she doesn't eat excessively, I don't think.
Coco the gorilla, she had a Manx, and she called it all ball.
Yeah.
Which that makes perfect sense when you see when everything's round. The head's round, the body's round, everything's round on them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's just round with little short legs.
Round,
and when she lays on her back,
yeah, it's round.
Because a lot of times she lays on her back, like, and she looks exactly like a gummy bear.
Yeah.
Like with her little paws up like that. She looks exactly like a gummy bear with like a little round middle.
Yeah, she's ridiculous.
She is a little ridiculous.
Very expressive face. She'll give you these expressions, like fucking angry or fucking funny or just
her mad face like makes me laugh so much. Like you do something or you say something she doesn't like, she gives you that little fucking. I'm like, uh-oh, she's giving me little mad face. She's like, you suck.
John says that Pookie's wasting away. You can play her ribs like the xylophone. No, she's not wasting away.
She's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think she eats excessively. She doesn't eat. She loves those Sheba meat sticks though.
Yeah.
I gotta buy like a big pack of those like every 3 weeks or something because she chows down through those things.
Cheryl says she's not fat. She's just curvy.
Yeah. Or fluffy, says Leanne.
She's fat.
She's not.
She's
fat. What are Pookie's favorite treats these days? She likes
Shiva meat sticks, the tuna ones.
The tuna ones, like I have to get those like by the. It's not a case, but it's like a big box that has like a whole bunch of pouches of it.
Any Temptations flavor.
Yeah, she'll eat pretty much any of those. I don't even think she has favorites anymore. She likes the red ones, like those ones over there, which is called Backyard Cookout, which is like chicken, liver, and beef.
Yeah,
she likes the chicken ones.
She likes them all.
I got her the ones that are pink that are, I think it's called shrimpy shrimp or something.
Yeah.
She likes those. She likes anything like shrimpy or tuna. The weird thing about it, and I said this the other day, like she likes those Sheba meat sticks, and she loves the tuna ones. The tuna ones are her favorite. She'll eat the chicken ones, but she's kind of meh about it, but she does not like the salmon ones. Like she'll eat them, but really, really grudgingly. Yeah. Like if you...
The meat sticks, she doesn't like salmon.
Like if you give her the salmon one, she kind of is like...
Yeah, she's like, this isn't right.
And then she'll kind of lick it and be like...
She's like, nah. But she likes the chicken ones a little. She'll eat them. But the tuna meat sticks, that's the one she really likes.
Oh my God, she loves those.
Now, somebody sent us like an off-brand of the chicken meat sticks, and she eats those. Remember?
Like a different.
Somebody sent us. It wasn't.
Well, I don't
Temptations,
know.
it was another one. It's just a yellow bag cheats.
Those might have come with, because remember I ordered some like emergency Shiba ones on Chewy.
Yeah.
And it came like in a mixed set, like with those ones. I can't remember what brand it was, but I was like, oh, she probably won't eat those, but she liked those too. She liked those too. Yeah. But for some reason, those tuna meat sticks, and they stink too. She loves like really stinky, like fishy.
Stinkier it is, the more she likes it. But you would think that she would like salmon, because salmon's pretty stinky.
Yeah, see, that's what. But she doesn't like the salmon ones for whatever reason. I don't
Something
really
about
know.
the way they taste. She doesn't like them.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. El Padrino said, I called out some asshole that cut me off right after work. Turned out to be one of my supervisors. Well, you know. Shouldn't be driving like that. So, and let me see. Ben says my cat Joxer adores freeze-dried raw lamb hearts. I don't think we've ever given her those. For a while, we had those little. Remember, we had the bags of like little dried fishies. Like, weren't they little?
Yeah.
Sardines.
She didn't finish them all though.
Yeah, she didn't. Like,
she'll eat some of them, and then she's look at you like, I probably wasn't supposed to eat that. This is not you. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'm supposed to eat that.
Yeah. She'd look guilty, like,
She's like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know if I like that one.
And she's not.
You had to sneak them. You had to sneak them to her, one after, little by little. Little dried fish, faces on them and shit. She's
maybe that's what freaked her out. She's like, I don't
"Oh."
really like.
She'd eat it, and then she'd look at you like, I'm not sure that was right. It's okay. Then she'd walk away from them sometimes. She'd only eat one at a time. You had to like spring them on her. If you left 3 of them out, she'd never eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leanne said, is the kitty black or gray? I couldn't
Gray.
see. She's gray. Yeah. She's gray, and she has a very, very faint kind of like stripy pattern, but it's kind of hard to see them. You know what I mean? And we were saying the other day, but she really does not like, because I know like some cats like people food, and they'll just come and like steal food off your plate and shit like that.
Not her.
She's not into it. She likes whipped cream.
Yeah.
Like if you're eating something with whipped cream on it, like a piece of pie or something, she'll come over and like want to stick her nose in that. But...
she'll get up and fucking smell what you're eating, and maybe
she'll like look at it.
She might lick it once, because I'll let her lick it. Because I know she won't eat it. She'll walk away. She's like, nah. She'll lick it, and then she'll look at you like, damn. How are you eating that?
What is your problem?
The only thing that I thought she was actually going to finish was I was eating a Nutter Butter, a Little Debbie's Nutter Butter, and she asked
Nutty
for
Buddy or whatever
Nutty
they
Buddy,
call it.
and I fucking which is like a wafer. It's like a Kit Kat with peanut butter and chocolate. Bigger though. So she wanted to know what it was, so I put it down there so she could get some. She's smelling it, and then she licked some, and it broke off, and it fell on the floor, and she licked it and licked it and licked it and licked it, and then walked away from it. And I went to go grab it, pick it up, throw it away, and it was just like mushy because I had all that fucking cat spit in it. She was spitting on it. She never did actually eat it. That was the clip. I thought she was going to eat it, though, because she heard me crunching it. So it must be good, because her treats crunch.
Yeah, she likes crunchy stuff.
Yeah, if it's crunchy, it must be good. She's crazy. Funny cat.
And we always kind of laugh at her, too, because we put, like, some little treats, like, on this little dish. And she sometimes eats them on the plate, but normally she takes her little paw and, like, slides it off onto the carpet.
She eats it on the carpet.
And then eats it on the carpet.
She
like, one at a time.
Yeah.
She's very dainty.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious, like, watching her.
Pushes them off one at a time, and then that's
she's fucking crazy. Everything she does is, like, fucking hilarious. Tammy says, some cats have a primordial pouch, like a flabby belly. Doesn't matter the sex or breed. Scientists don't know why. Yeah, I had heard that. That's why I keep telling you, don't give her a complex by, like, telling her she's fat. Yes, she does.
She does not understand what I'm saying.
Yes, she does. I'm telling you, she does. Because I've said, like, something before, like, you know, if I said something, like, teasing her before, and then she looks at me like, don't you make fun of me, bitch. She gives me a face like that.
Yeah.
I think she knows what I'm saying. John Smith said, I think one of my cats is the reincarnation of Jeffrey Dahmer. He prefers his food live and then plays with the bodies.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, Pookie doesn't really seem to do that.
No, she would kill lizards, but she didn't eat them.
Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah.
Now, I used to have a cat that would eat the lizards, except for the head. She would always just leave lizard heads everywhere, like out on the porch.
At the old house, she came running up to me with something in her mouth. I looked at it, it was a dead gopher. I don't think she killed it, but she was trying to claim that she killed it.
Yeah.
She brought me the dead gopher and reared up on her back legs, and she had it in her mouth with her fucking hands on the dead gopher and body slammed it twice. Boom. Look.
This is Pookie WWF.
Yeah. Stood up with it and then body slammed it. It's like, damn. Then she looked at me and said, like, I gotta kill it. I said, you did not kill that. She was trying to claim that she killed that.
She's like, ooh, I just found this dead thing. Or maybe Beijing killed it. I don't know.
Yeah, she found it.
Because didn't we find...
I think Beijing killed it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because didn't we find, like, at the on the porch at the old house, didn't we find a squirrel with no head or something? Like, somebody, like, pulled the squirrel's head off?
Yeah, I think that was a squirrel.
Some shit like that.
That was Beijing killing squirrels.
Beijing did that. I don't know if does Beijing kill anything anymore? I haven't found any dead stuff out on the porch.
Not recently.
Not recently. I think she just kind of likes to sit and watch now.
She'll bring a dead bird. She brought a bird into the house that was alive. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let the bird go.
Well, Pookie used to bring in, when she used to go out on the porch at the old house, like, she would bring in lizards all the time.
Yeah.
I think she just brought them in because she wanted something to play with. She didn't, like, want to eat them or nothing. But
she outgrew that. She doesn't care about them anymore.
Not really.
All right, so how long have we been doing the show? About an hour, probably?
Yeah, 56 minutes.
All right, so now's the time for you guys to go ahead and ask questions. If you guys want to talk about any cases from the past, or
well, don't say that because I might not remember the
details.
Yeah,
we were watching that Graham Hancock series.
Yeah, I was gonna wonder when you're gonna bring that up.
And it's a good series.
Ancient Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. So we're probably in like episode 4 by now, 5 maybe.
Yeah, I thought we watched 4 and 5 last night or something. I don't remember.
It's a good series, even though I think Hancock has got some shit backwards. He has a theory that mankind survived this ancient apocalypse, so he goes out and looks for things to fulfill that concept, that narrative, and it's not really how you're supposed to do it. I think he's right about certain things. I think there are very ancient societies, maybe around the Ice Age. He's not saying that they were industrial. I think they were pre-industrial, and he's basically saying the same thing. But that doesn't mean his claims are correct. You know, like I don't think that fucking thing at the fucking around Bimini is a road. That Bimini Road, I don't think that's a structure.
I don't think so either.
I think that's a natural thing. Some of the other stuff that he showed, these old sites, I think they were sites. And they're real old, but I don't think they have anything to do with an ancient apocalypse. Because the beginnings and the ends of ice ages take a long time. The people that are living through those don't notice anything unusual. So there isn't... He has this big thing, well, they've passed down this knowledge and they're trying to send us a message. And no. Those people were just building structures and farming and keeping track of the stars so they knew when it was to plant and doing their little religious rites. And
yeah, I don't really I think even people nowadays mostly just kind of concentrate on, their own lifetimes and maybe their kids' lifetimes. You're just kind of like trying to live your life. You're not really worried about what's going to happen 1,000 years from now or anything like that. And I don't think people back then were either. I think that's just our bias talking, because it's like we live thousands of years later, so we're like, oh, well, they must have been like trying to send us a message. Because I was like, no, they weren't. No, they were just kind of
living in day to day,
living in day to day, like most people do nowadays.
Right. And then he's kind of coming up with this other theory that all of the civilizations were related to one another, and that they remembered some original core civilization that they split off from. Like they all had pyramids, and that they all they all fucking had stories about the same kind of gods, and that they all were watching the same group of stars. That's not what that means, man. Yeah, everyone was related to one another. Everyone's kind of cousins. But humans are pretty similar, you know. They're going to, in the night sky, they're going to pick out the brightest stars, just like you would.
Yeah.
And they're going to pick out the stars that seem to be in certain places at certain times that are that are noteworthy, you know, like the dog star, and you know, fucking, and they're gonna build pyramids, because a pyramid is like a mountain, but it's got 4 sides. Well, that's the minimum amount of sides. You could do 3 sides, but it'd probably be harder to do 3 sides. It makes more sense to do 4 sides, and 5 sides on a pyramid would be harder. So we'll just do 4. So people tend to gravitate towards the same kind of tropes and concepts no matter where you are. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, humans are similar the world over.
Yeah.
So when presented with the same set of circumstances, they're going to come up with similar solutions to problems.
Right.
They probably don't look exactly the same, hence
Right.
cultural differences, but, you know, in the aggregate, they tend to be pretty similar.
If you're a man and you believe in a god, you're going to say that god's a man. So if that god's a man, he's got a wife. Because you got a wife.
Yeah.
So he's got a wife. And guess what? You got children, so that god must have children too. So
Yeah.
you got to have stories. So all the stories are like that.
Yeah, it's just like,
It's
you
just
know,
the way it is.
it's just like the way stuff
Yeah.
is, but like exalted,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. And it's not because they all descended from the same civilization. It's because people are real similar, the way they think.
Yeah.
It's those same tropes over and over again.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to pause, because I kind of
Yeah.
feel like what he's trying to get at is that, you know, this, because he keeps bringing up stories about like how a lot of cultures have a story about like a person that came and like brought people technology, you know,
Yeah.
like the Quetzalcoatl and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary to posit that, like that you had to have one person that came and like, hey, I'm from the smarter city over there.
Right.
Like, hey, dummies, I'm going to show you how to like build this, that, and the other thing, or show you how to like farm and whatnot.
Well, look at it this way. If you were to make up a story how you learned things today and you're a kid, or let's say you're a young civilization in your room at night, you're going to say, yeah, the internet. I heard it on the internet. The internet is what taught me how to fucking build my civilization. You know, they didn't have internet back then. The closest thing to an internet back then was a dude that came from somewhere else. This dude came in here and he fucking showed us this cool shit. Yeah, it's kind of like an email of the day.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Dude came over here and he showed us this stuff, and then he went back. He went back to where we came from. That would just be the logical way of explaining how you learned something. Man came and showed us. You know,
yeah, because I
that's just
kind of
real
feel like by the time
simple.
those stories like pass around, because usually knowledge like that is incremental, right? It's like you
Yeah.
just kind of like learn it over generations and generations, and like you kind of perfect things.
Yeah.
And so, but it's easy, like in story forms, like you said, to just say, oh, there was this really wise man that came down from the mountain
Yeah.
or whatever, and like told us how to do all this shit like
And whoever's
1,000 years ago.
Yeah, and whoever's writing this wasn't there.
Right.
You know what I mean? The civilization's already formed. If somebody says, how did this all start? Oh, well, long time ago. Dude came and showed us. Because that's how things happened back then. You know, and if he said, no, long time ago, we got an email. We got a download. Okay? I'd really be impressed. But that's not what you're saying. They're just saying, dude came and showed us. And he went back where he came from. Because that's the way things happened back then.
Yeah.
It was real. That was the level of technology that they were at. So there's just a lot of stuff like that in Graham Hancock. I'm not gonna say he's full of shit. It's just he's got a narrative to sell.
Yeah.
I do believe you should question archaeology. Question everything. That's what science is about. Is being skeptical and questioning and checking and double checking. But some of the stuff he's positing is unlikely. You know, there are other explanations for what he's talking about.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff is really a reach.
Yeah, it's like a reach.
Like, I'm not really, the only thing that I think that I agree with him on is that, oh, well, you know, a lot of the sites that they found, like, are much older
than they think
they were. And so,
Right.
like, people had, like, technology, like, you know, many thousands of years before we previously thought. There's nothing crazy about that. That's, you know, that's fine. And there is actually evidence for that. But, like, some of the other stuff that he comes up with is really a reach.
Yeah.
Richard Brown, too, said Hancock wrote a book about the face on Mars.
Yeah. The face on Mars that is a hill.
Which is not a face.
It's not there.
That hill on Mars.
The,
that doesn't even look like a face.
Yeah, it's not a face. It's a hill. The face is only because of the technology that they had at the time. If you look at a clearer picture of it, there's nothing there. But, yeah, he's just, he's positing stuff that's unlikely. It's just more likely that, although I do agree with him, humans were doing agriculture for a long time, further back than they thought. Some of that stuff like Göbekli Tepe, some of that shit goes back into the Ice Age probably. You find it and he says, well shit, they must have been, this shit's 10,000 years old and they probably were here for 2,000 years doing this. Because there's a lot more of that stuff there in that area.
Yeah, because there's like, they did ground penetrating radar and there's like a bunch more like little chambers and stuff like under the hill.
And when you start getting into the damn Ice Age, the sea levels were a lot lower. And people, especially in the pre-industrial era, tended to live on the coastland. It's easier to live on the coast because you can fish and there's just better resources. So chances are all the real old stuff is underneath the ocean now. You'd never find it. And that's the problem with all this ancient lost civilization stuff. I'm sure there are ancient lost civilizations, but hell yeah there are. They're underneath the ocean though now.
Probably.
They would have been on the coast. I don't think there was so much time, and even before the Ice Age, something could have been industrial, but for a while, and every bit of that would be gone. Some people would say, well, 30,000 years ago, there's no evidence of any of that. If this civilization were to end, and 30,000 years were to pass, there wouldn't be a trace of this civilization 30,000 years from now. It would all be gone.
Yeah, that's a long fucking time.
The structures that we build are just not meant to last that long. Nowhere near as long as, say, the Great Pyramid. And all the little pollutions and shit would all be gone. We would just, 30,000 years from now, those people would think that whatever pollution we left behind, they'd think that was normal. You know? They would just, oh yeah, that's the normal fucking stuff that's in the atmosphere. They just wouldn't. Nothing we're going to do is going to stay around for very long. The longest thing you're going to have to last, or the most long-lasting object we'll ever make, was probably those Great Pyramids in Giza. Those are going to take a long time to erode away. And that Sphinx is probably much older than those Great Pyramids.
Yeah, that's the theory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, even so, I mean, even think, well, when they were talking about, thank you very much, El Padrino, super chat, payday. I'll try to do better next payday. Oh, thank you very much. That's really, really nice of you.
We need patrons too. Please join our Patreon account. Even if it's only $5 a month, it would make a big difference for us.
Like I said, even $1.
Even $1 a month on Patreon would make a difference for us.
I mean, anything like that would be good.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, and like even the pyramids. Well, when he was doing the show about Göbekli Tepe, which that's even like way, way older than the pyramids, and even that is. Well, I was gonna say it's only like 10,600 or 11,000 years old or something like that.
And they were in that area probably for at least 2,000 years doing that.
So I mean, 30,000 years. That's like 3 times longer than that shit has been there, and that's like the oldest shit they've found so far.
Right.
Like anything of that magnitude.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Zach. Hope y'all are doing good. We
Yes.
are.
What's up, Zach?
What's up, Zach?
Zach contacted me about relationship problems. I'm giving him advice on how to deal with his men.
Oh, you giving advice?
Yeah, giving advice on how to deal with his men. It's gonna be all right, Zach. Don't worry about it.
What's your advice on dealing with men, Tom?
Well, I don't want to give up all of his fucking.
Well, you don't have to do that. You can
know.
just give generalizations. I'm just curious.
Well, my advice all fits the. It's all a response to whatever the situation, and the information I'm given. You know what I'm talking about? He showed me some letters, and I was going, and I said, okay, this is what you need to do. So I gave him my advice.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like a general kind of thing?
No, it wasn't general.
Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, don't get into specifics.
No,
that's not cool.
I can't give you specifics. That man loves you, Zach. You need to commit, bitch. Commit.
Zach says, I don't care. Tom could tell the story. I need opinions. But then also, Gramthars asked, where's the best place to put optics on an AR build?
Graham?
Yeah, Gramthars asked that, yeah.
Well, it depends on what kind of optic it is. If you're talking about a red dot, you want that flush with the upper receiver before it gets to the rail. And that's where most militaries will put it. That'll leave you plenty of room in the back for magnifiers if you're going to put magnifiers and backup mechanical sights. I'm kind of a firm believer that. All right, there's a couple different ways to think about military rifles today. High tech shit, and what's been going on the past fucking 5 or 10 years actually kind of falls more into kind of like heavy duty law enforcement. That's with optics. But the traditional shit is iron sights. All right, I love iron sights, and if you want fucking iron sights, you go with the old A1 and A2 setups and the old fucking AK setups. Just nice mechanical sights. You don't need batteries. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. It can be 40 degrees below zero, and that bitch works. And it'll work for your fucking longer than you will live in combat. Those fucking iron sights will work. And iron sights, when used properly, both eyes open, and just fucking painting a target with a fucking front sight on it, you can get a lot of the same effects that you would get from optics. And you have to remember that in military applications, we're using tracers. So tracers help. And now, tracer-like projectiles are now available for civilian sales. And that was our version of the red dots, just fucking tracers. Okay. If you're going to use red dot, if you're going to have red dot, you probably don't need the iron sights. Just run red dot. Used to be, I saw guys that were running both, red dot and fucking irons. That's redundant. They say, well, if the red dot fails, we'll have backups. Nah, the chances of that failing within the mission parameters is fucking slim. Run one or the other. I like ultralight builds, like what would Stoner do 2020 type rifles with fucking red dot for internal security. If you're going to go real hardcore survivalist, iron sights. And as light as possible, pencil barrel. That was Stoner's original concept. 5-pound rifle or below. That's what I like. I don't like putting all that bullshit on there. Even my fucking ultralight, and I do have ultralight builds with red dots, I'm still running N4 style fucking lights on the side with fucking strobes. You don't need fucking IR laser or any other shit. You don't need any of that. And that's just all you need for internal security. Everything has to be light and simple. If you need robustness and survivability, you go strip it all down and just go with iron sights. Okay, I'm done.
Louis says the last ice age was ended about 1,000 years ago. Supposedly humans were all hunter-gatherers.
I doubt that.
But there are some places older than that, like Göbekli Tepe. Yeah, that's kind of what he was talking about.
Right.
I'm just kind of saying that it's like, I don't think it's crazy to posit that, like some of the population of the world might have been hunter-gatherers then, but I don't think all of them were, because just like, everybody nowadays is like at different levels of like technology. Well, not so much
You still got tribal bushmen now.
Yeah.
In certain places.
Right.
I think during the Ice Age, it was like the Conan days. I think you had city-states.
Back in the Conan days.
Back in the Conan days. You would have had city-states, which were tribal city-states, and they were doing agriculture along the equator. Then you had mobile tribesmen hunting woolly mammoth and bison and stuff like that up in the ice. You know, during certain parts of the season, you would have had both simultaneously, I think. But you can find stuff that's very old that is high tech. The arrow is very high tech. Even the addle is high tech. I challenge you to make an arrow from nothing. You need tools to make an arrow, and you need glues. You need glue to make compound bows. So a lot of these things that people think are primitive are actually real hard to make. I challenge you to make them.
Yeah, they had to make all that shit from just like stuff they found like in the woods or whatever.
Right.
So couldn't just go down to fucking Radio Shack and like pick shit up, you know.
Yeah, you know, that's just
Depot.
kind of a Yankee white boy kind of thinking, oh my God, the primitive arrow. I challenge one of them to make a fucking arrow. Lakota can make an arrow, all right? And to make an arrow, you had not just the Lakota, all the Native Americans can make arrows. You have to understand the basics of aerodynamics, how to make fucking glue, how to make thread, and how to tie fucking veins onto the end of the arrow. They have to be set the right way so you can get some spin. They have to be the right length. Things have to be balanced properly. Even the weights of things have to be correct, or that arrow will not fly straight.
They had to understand physics.
They understand this shit. This is an advanced problem.
Right.
This is like making a rocket. Okay.
Yeah.
Dumb people couldn't do this. Well, they say, well, that wasn't long ago. That was the 1800s, the 1700s. Oopsie. That fucking European dude frozen on top of that mountain. That was almost 10,000 years ago, I think it was. He had an arrow that was as good as a Native American from the 1800s. Oopsie. And he froze it. I think that was, 15,000 years ago?
I can't remember how old Otzi was, actually.
So, and he was also tattooed. He was tatted up and stuff. Little bitty guy up in the Swiss Alps. And he had an advanced understanding of aerodynamics, basically, to make an arrow. And I challenge you, working in your fucking office with your laptop, to make that arrow with nothing, with no tools. Just let you loose in the
just go out in the yard
and go make an arrow. You couldn't do it.
And find some shit and make an arrow.
So you're not dealing with dummies. Those dudes were very smart. People think, well, it was a long time ago. They must have been dumb. No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just kind of like, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. You needed to make things to, you know, kill animals for food, do things like that. So you had to figure it out. You had to figure out the problem. Yeah. Or you were in big trouble. So.
Well, they knew how to make bronze, and they were making sharp tools and tanning hides and leathers, and all that shit's advanced. That's advanced thinking. It's not that far from Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution happens when you have a population density that's high enough to have the trading routes that you need for all that shit to happen. That's the only difference. If you spoke the same language and you were from the 1800s, you could talk to Utsi and you wouldn't be that far removed from one another.
Yeah, probably not, to be honest. Because, like I said, it's really only since the Industrial Revolution that technology has really... Because we were talking about this last night. We were watching the Graham Hancock show. I was like, the thing about it was that it's really only in the last, 50, 100 years that technology has been, exponentially growing the way that it has. Up till then, technology still progressed, but it was, much slower, obviously. Yeah. So I don't think people would have noticed as much difference in their lifetimes as people do nowadays. I mean, because just look at our lifetime. I'm 50 years old, but, when I was born, we didn't have any of this shit. You know what I mean? We didn't have, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of the shit that we have now, pretty much. It wasn't that fucking... We still had phones and stuff, obviously, but it was a lot different, And then just, a few decades before that, they didn't even have, TVs or nothing, so...
Another thing was back then, and this is even in the times of just the Native Americans here in the U.S. with the white man watching them and cataloging what they would do. They probably would have been about on par with Utsi, and they were still very physically competent. Okay, Lakota could ride a horse at full gallop, throw themselves underneath the neck of the horse while they were riding, and fire a bow from underneath the neck of the horse undercover and hit another man on a horse when they were both at full gallop. At a distance, That's fucking very good physical prowess, and they made all that stuff, and they could train horses. The horses weren't indigenous to the New World, but they adapted to them quickly. They only came here in the 1500s, 1400s. The Native Americans adapted to them quickly and learned to raise them and train them and ride them. Okay, so you're not talking about a static people. Well, Utsi and everything would have been the same way. This is just the way humans were. Humans are smart, no matter what you give them. You know, and nowadays you got enough technology to shield people from all these problems. You have people that normally would have died. They're still alive. Okay, people that normally weren't physically, didn't have the physical prowess, they're still alive. And when normally they in the wild they would have died by now. So if you were to go back in time in your fucking Back to the Future fucking DeLorean, you're going to run across these people that you would think were those primitive savages. And guess what? They're probably better than you are at getting shit done. They may not understand what electricity is or what a laptop is. But when it comes to getting food and riding horses and jumping on things and fighting and turning an animal into usable products and making a fucking hide into fucking clothing and how to stay warm and dry and live comfortably in the field. No, they were good at that. Real good, you know. And they just grew up like that, and they were tough.
That was just what you did.
That's what you did.
You had to do that. It wasn't like there was an option.
Right. But they were also thinking about things, and they had stories to explain things. And, you know, humans are creative. Only creative people can survive that kind of condition. And,
creativity, flexibility.
Yeah. And they enjoyed their standard of their way of life. The Indians, really, the American Indians, were fighting to protect their lifestyle more than anything else. You know, the white man didn't really defeat them. What defeated them were the locomotive, the telegraph, and private land ownership, fences. Because once you had that, you couldn't chase the buffalo anymore. And a lot of Indians just said fuck it and got jobs. And as soon as you start getting jobs and going into town, you're going to start marrying people that weren't Indians, and you start to gravitate away from that. And World War II was pretty much the end of the Indian reservation lifestyle. Those guys went off to World War II, and they didn't want to go back to the reservation. They're now they want to go fucking move to L.A., you know, and they married white women and stuff, and that was just because Indians and white people intermarried going back 1500, back in the 1500s, you know, fucking. They call it racial admixture. A lot of the Indians just got absorbed over time.
Zach says, speaking of ancient stuff, on the Nevada-Utah border, there's a supervolcano caldera about 30 million years old that vomited, they think, 5,900, what is that, kilometers? That's not kilometers. Yeah. Whatever. Of tephra, largest eruption ever on the planet. That's kind of what, on the Graham Hancock show last night when he was talking about, there must have been some big cataclysm. And the way that he was talking about it, if indeed it did happen at the time that he said it happened, it sounded like a supervolcano explosion to me. But
yeah, me and Jen were talking about that when that happened. A lot of that shit they're talking about, this big catastrophic. Evidently, the show, he gets more into it as the episodes go.
It's building up.
It's building up to
It's
something.
like in chapters.
So far, what he's saying, me and Jenny pretty much on top, is that he must have been either a super volcano.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Or some kind of asteroid impact.
Yeah, that would be my second choice.
Right, which is plausible. Very fucking plausible.
Well, yeah, it's happened before. Both of those things have happened before.
You can have a damn super volcano so bad it just brings on a damn ice age.
Well, there was that really bad one in 1816, 1815, whatever that was. And then it caused, really, really bad, crops and, remember, because 1816 was, the year without a summer? All that kind of stuff because of that volcano going off and, blocking out the sun for a couple of years.
The thing is people think, they picture this in a weird way. You could have a super volcano. You might have several bad winters. But you wouldn't die. It wouldn't be, chances are, it wouldn't impact you as much as you would think. The problems would happen over centuries. You know, over a couple hundred years, certain species would go extinct. Cities would have gotten slowly smaller. the human population would have been smaller. But in each one of your lifetimes of these people, they wouldn't really notice it. It would just seem normal.
Yeah, because I mean, if you really only live 50, 60, 70, 80 years,
you don't notice it as much.
That's not really a long time in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So
it's not like one day everything's normal and then the volcano happens, and then that's the end of the world, and oh, you suck, and oh man, it's not like that. It wasn't even like that for the dinosaurs. They had that big asteroid impact.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably really scary when that happened, like that day that it happened.
Yeah, but most of them survived it.
Yeah.
It took a long time for them to die from the repercussions of that.
I mean, other than the ones that were right there, like, right near where the impact site was.
Because they survived it and they tried to make a living the way they always did, whatever kind of animal it was. But it was harder now. You could make a living, it's just that the bar got raised. So more of you died each year, than normal. So slowly they just dwindled because the conditions had changed. But you wouldn't have noticed it within the lifetime of a dinosaur.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. I kind of feel like sometimes, like I said, because people have... we see things in terms of our own lifespan, which isn't really all that long. And so when I just remember hearing that some people saying stuff like, oh, people walked over to North America, for example, like during the last ice age, and people were like, oh, they just walked. I'm like, they didn't walk over here in one day, like from continent to continent. But it's like if they only walked like a couple miles a day, then eventually, over... not even that long, really, like, just over a few decades or a few centuries or something like that. It doesn't really take that long if it's just like a little bit at a time. But people aren't really used to, I don't know. I guess, too, because, like, when you read history, like, just by necessity, they have to sort of truncate everything and put it into, like, a narrative type of story. So the way that it's told, it really does kind of sound like, oh, everything happened, like... quickly, or everything happened in one day, when really it might have taken like centuries or millennia or something like that. So it wasn't like you just woke up one day and like everything was different. You might not have even noticed any change, really, which is very incremental.
Yeah, Louis saying he thought the best episodes were the ones about Mexico, but he's biased. Well, the Mexica never really got the credit that was due them. You know what I mean? Egypt was always stealing the limelight. But according to the Dominican friars who went through all that Mesoamerican stuff, that the Aztecs had, said that their libraries were every bit as advanced as like ancient Roman and Greek libraries. They had orders by the Vatican to destroy all that stuff, and they were like, nah, we can't really destroy this. This isn't really the right thing to do. The friars that were there on the ground were like going, nah, you can't do this. This is like on par with like, the Greek poetry and shit, you know what I mean? But eventually they got forced into fucking burning all that stuff. The church believed that library and the sum of the Mayan knowledge and Aztec knowledge was supporting a religion that promoted child sacrifice, and so that it had to go. I kind of agreed with the monks. The monks said that no, we should pick through this. You know what I mean? Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. It's really never the best idea.
Right.
And especially
all of it.
Like I said, if it's just a book, even if it has like shitty ideas in it, like I don't even advocate, burning copies of Mein Kampf or anything like that. Just don't do that. It's like, any kind of information is valuable.
Right.
You need a record of that. Like I don't really ever think it's a good idea to destroy things like that. Even if the ideas in it are monstrous.
The monks are saying that a lot of this wasn't religious. It was just poetry.
Right.
It was poetry and things about mathematics and technology. But they were being told by the Vatican to destroy every fucking thing. And eventually...
that's fucked up.
It's crazy. And then
That's
eventually they did that. They destroyed it all, eventually. Because that was definitely the wrong thing to do.
You know what's crazy?
They should have just taken... They wanted that religion to die. They just should have taken that religious documents away from them and stored it up at the damn Vatican. Okay?
Yeah, like keep it.
And then, you're right. So you could study it later, for future generations. But they didn't think that way. You're talking about Renaissance period, and people were intelligent, but they weren't really that forward thinking, and they weren't going like, well, this is one of the world's great civilizations. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they got child sacrifice and some weird shit that was going on, but you don't condemn all of their fucking writings because of that. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? That would be like saying, well, because of Epstein's Island happened, we're going to fucking destroy all of Western fucking civilization's writings. You know what I mean?
Just because that one dude.
Just because those dudes up there on that damn island. Which it was a lot of the stuff that I would say were abuses that were happening in Mesoamerica. It was all really because of what their elites were doing and the religions that they basically fostered, they were using that stuff as almost like a totalitarian theocracy. You obey or you die. If you disobey me, I'll sacrifice your daughter. That's really what it ended up being. Which I don't think that was the original intent of those religions. That's just that's what it evolved into because you could gain power that way.
Yeah, certain people get into power
right.
that are like, and they,
right.
use
They're
it
like,
as a
okay,
tool.
well, this is the system, and I'm gonna use this system to empower me and what I want to do. And that's kind of what Cortez and the Cortez was saying. He was telling, because he led a revolt. It wasn't a thing where the Spaniards overthrew the Aztec Empire. No, the Aztecs fostered a revolt of a bunch of Mesoamerican city-states to topple the Aztec Empire. It was mostly Indians doing it, not Spaniards.
Well, there wasn't enough of the Spaniards.
There wasn't enough Spaniards. It was the Spaniards kicked off an Indian civil war. A lot of it behind these religious abuses. But these weren't abuses. These abuses that were happening were kind of class abuses more than anything else and political stuff. It was not a fucking... shouldn't have been used as a way to condemn the entire fucking system of that civilization, They've fucking pieced together Nahuatl, so now they know how to write it. They need to start teaching that to people in Mexico so you can revive that. That was a very high-tech religion, or not a high-tech language. It was way ahead of the game. Nahuatl was a language based upon emojis, basically.
Yeah,
Ain't that some
essentially,
shit?
that's what they were.
Emojis.
Yep.
The Mexicans had figured out emojis long before us. Little faces
did.
and fucking thing. Yeah, emojis. That's some hardcore shit. And they had good virtues. Good manly virtues of masculinity and femininity, and very much like the Vikings. The Mexicans were a lot like the Vikings. Still kind of are. But yeah, every bit as cool as the Egyptians.
I don't know if you remember. The weird thing about it is that I don't remember. It's probably like because I feel like they've done a lot of research since the time that I was in school. But I kind of feel like when I was in school, elementary school, junior high, stuff like that, when you took your social studies class or whatever, you always learned about ancient Egypt. You always learned about Greece and Rome and everything like that. You learned about the Fertile Crescent. You learned about all that kind of stuff. But they didn't really go that much into Mesoamerica.
No.
I didn't really learn a lot about that until later, like, on my own.
Yeah.
And actually probably not until I got to college.
And it's just as old or older.
Right. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, it's probably better now, like I said,
Yeah.
because they've done a lot of research since then. But when I was in school in the 80s... I feel like they barely talked about Mesoamerica. It was all Egypt, Greece, Rome.
Yeah. Well, that was more classical education.
Yeah.
From a European point of view.
That's what I'm saying. Like anything
New World, they really didn't
Yeah, they didn't really go that much into it.
Right.
They didn't go into like any kind of like Native American cities. They didn't go into any Mesoamerican stuff. They didn't do any of that kind of
No.
Like, I don't remember learning like maybe like 2% of like the world history class was about that. We didn't learn a lot about Asian history or African history either in world history class. It was basically like European history.
The amazing thing about the Mesoamerican civilizations, and there were several of them, and it went on for a long, long time, is that in terms of sheer size, they dwarfed anything in Europe. The size of those cities was
they were
far
massive.
bigger. Far bigger. They were huge and big populations. So it's funny how that kind of took fucking back seat to Egypt. Egypt wasn't shit compared to fucking ancient Mexico.
I mean, Egypt's awesome. Nobody's saying that, but it's
Mexico's
just like
bigger.
Yeah, it just seems like
bigger.
it's weird that
Yeah.
you know the Mesoamerican civilizations were just as large or larger, and just as complex, and they didn't really. Like I said, it's probably different now. I'm not in school now, so I don't know. But like when I was in school in the 80s, you didn't learn hardly anything about Mesoamerica. I didn't learn about it until like later on my own, like in my college anthropology classes and stuff, and then they kind of went into it. But
the Mesoamerican civilizations, the Maya, the Aztec were a subset of the Maya. They were Maya too. They were just a different tribe of the Maya. That had kind of broke off from it. It was like a breakaway civilization, but they had a lot of the same gods. They were bigger than Europe and Egypt combined in terms of just sheer size and population, the size of the cities. They were very well developed. In the 1500s, I would say they were on par with the feudal Japan, about like that. They weren't dealing with steel yet, but they did have metals. They didn't really need steel, and warfare was different for them. It was more religious than it was tactical military types. That was more about capturing sacrifices to pay the blood debt back to the sun god. No, it's not Quetzalcoatl. It was I forgot what his name was. Anyway, it was so it was a different scene. They all kind of had the same pantheon of gods that they were worried about. But it's just fascinating civilization. And they were civilized. People say, well, they weren't civilized. No, they had fucking vast writings and fucking really intelligent elite class of people that could do mathematics and fucking had great poetry and good taste in things. And some of their writings exist of what they wrote, of what they thought of the conquistadores that showed up. They were marrying their daughters off, especially in the Central American part. They're marrying their daughters off to these guys, and then these nobles had realized that these Spanish guys, were middle class, and they were like, "Oh shit! I just kind of married my daughter off to a dude who's a scumbag in his own country." Because some of them were, you know what I mean. And they were like, man,
coming over here thinking you're big shit.
Yeah,
like, we're not going to know the difference.
Yeah, we saw all this steel and all this shit that you could do, but you're actually nothing where you come from, and I just married my daughter off to you. So, yeah.
Blaster one said, what happened to your other cat? She's around. She owns the downstairs, so she very, very rarely comes upstairs. If she does come upstairs, Pookie will jump on her. On her fluffy tail and go, get out of my territory. They've kind of like taken over. Pookie owns upstairs and Beijing owns downstairs. So Beijing usually like sleeps on the couch like downstairs. Louis says, Jenny, I'm a little younger than you, and you're absolutely right about learning about Mesoamerica in school. Yeah, I just remember not learning. I remember in my world history classes, and I'm talking mainly about like, junior high and a little bit into like world history in high school. I remember mostly learning about things from like a very European-centric. You didn't even learn about really like Native American tribes that were already here. Like you just learned about, oh, here come the Pilgrims, and they met. Oh, look, all these people were already here and stuff like that. They were still teaching that like into the 80s.
It was a real dumbed down version of what happened here, and a lot of it's because they didn't know.
Yeah,
that has a lot to do with it. They don't know. there's a bunch of weird things that seem to be ruins of cities that were Native American here in North America that they still don't know really what they are. And they're not really interested in them because it's not Egypt. There's this fixation on ancient Egypt.
I mean, I get it. Like, ancient Egypt, like, all of that stuff, like, that's badass. I love all that stuff. But it is kind of, like, sad that Mesoamerica kind of always got short shrift.
It got kind of
I kind of had to learn about it on my own.
Now, one of the things was that I heard was that, well, you know, Mesoamerica's not that interesting because it's not that old. That was in the 1500s. Wait a minute, hold on. Those Mesoamericans have been doing that shit for fucking thousands of years. Of course it's old. It would be as if ancient Egypt fucking survived until the 1500s.
That's what I mean. They're saying, it's not old because we just turned up and saw it. And it didn't exist before that.
Yeah, like it didn't exist. So we talking about, man, they had been doing that shit for fucking 4,000 years.
That's kind of the impression that you got.
Yeah, the impression is, well, it's not old.
Like I said, even when I was in school, like even up until the 80s, they still kind of had, they didn't say this outright, but the implication was still, it's like, oh, well, you know, the Europeans are here, so it's like now the party can get started. You know what I mean? It's not like the Native Americans, the Mesoamericans, like all this, even like up in Canada and everything like that, like all the indigenous people. It's not like they hadn't had these complex societies that have been going on for thousands of years.
Right.
They just happen to be there, and it's like, oh, well, now we acknowledge you, so now.
Yeah.
So now you can, like, be in the history books. Like, nobody cared about what they were doing before the Europeans showed up, it seemed like. Which is kind of sad. Hopefully they've rectified that by now.
I think what happened was that scholars in the 18 and the 1900s are reading about it in the 1500s as well. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Our ancestors saw that, so it couldn't have been that impressive. They want us to talk about some shit that happened thousands of years ago. All right. Like, oh, that was a long time ago. But they fucking just skimmed over the fact that 6,000 years ago here in the New World, the Mayans were doing exactly what you saw in the 1500s. They were doing that here.
Yeah.
You know, the ruins are here.
Complex civilization.
So if you...
Just like they did in Europe.
So really, showing up in the 1500s, you're very lucky to see it. Because, you know, in the 1500s, you couldn't see ancient Egypt. It was long gone.
Yeah.
You know, crushed by Rome, basically, and then swallowed up by the Greeks, by the Ptolemies, and then it just became kind of like a normal modern Arab state, you know. But that took time, you know. But you actually saw an ancient civilization, and that would have been Mexico. Mexico in the 1500s. It was exactly like that, probably 3,000 years before, just that it wouldn't have been there. It would have been further south. Because the Aztecs weren't there for very long. I don't think they had been there for longer than a couple hundred years. I think during the time. I think by the time the Spaniards had found them, I think Mexico City was only there, or Tenochtitlan, I think is what they called it. I think it had only been there for a couple hundred years. Their cities didn't last that long. They didn't have technology to fertilize land, so they would build crops around the city and deplete the soil. And when the soil got depleted, the crop yield would start fucking up. So the elites would go, well, we must be doing something wrong. We're going to have to fucking pay back some blood debt to the gods. And every time you did that, you're also, human meat ended up going on the market. So it was kind of late-term abortion and welfare. You got free food if you depleted the population. So they'd start to eat the population. You know, it's cannibalism. All right. And that would go on until people said, well, fuck this, I'm leaving this city. You know, and that's what would happen. That's why there's all those damn cities throughout Central America, abandoned Mesoamerican and Mayan cities, is because they couldn't fertilize land. You know, there are no nitrate-based fertilizers. That comes out of the damn oil refineries. The oil industry makes nitrate-based fertilizer. So without the oil industry, you're not going to be able to fertilize too well. You won't be able to run a city. You don't have the technology. Even Rome had problems with it. So that would have been a hell of a time to live, because everything would have been mysticized. Crop yields aren't good. We did something wrong. You know. How else could you explain it?
Yeah.
we did exactly what we did last year. Why is it not growing? You know.
Cheryl says, do you guys put up a tree or anything? Yeah, we have a tree up.
Got a tree down there. It's a fake tree.
It's just downstairs. Fake
Plug it in. It's got lights already in it.
Because we lazy. One of these days, not this year, obviously, because I'm broke dick this year, but I kind of want to get a tree for up here, like, just for the show. I kind of wanted one that was kind of, not necessarily green. I kind of like the idea of having, like, a white tree or a black tree so I can decorate it for different holidays, so I could have it, like, in the background of the different shows. So I could do a Halloween tree. I could do all kind of different stuff. That'd be neat. That's one of my goals. But, fake Christmas trees are fucking expensive, man. I just can't justify the fucking... Maybe I can just, like, make a paper one and, like, stick it on the wall or some shit like that. I don't know. But, yeah, so there's one downstairs, like, at the bottom of the staircase, like, down in what's generally supposed to be the dining room, but we don't use it for a dining room because we don't ever eat down there, so, Yeah, Louis said, same here, very European-centric education. Yeah, it's kind of a shame, and honestly, like, world history is fascinating, but... And like I said, I get that they only have a limited amount of time, and, they're usually teaching to, like, college aptitude tests and things like that, so there's a specific amount of things or number of things they have to get to, and so they can't really drill down into, like, really interesting things, so you really kind of have to learn a lot of stuff on your own. But like, it's much easier nowadays, like I said, because you have the internet, so if you're really interested in a particular topic, you can find out whatever you want to find out about it. But when I look back on it, I think I had, like, I went to public school, obviously, but, I think I have, like, had a really decent education, but when I think about my history classes, I found them interesting, but they were very, very European-centric. Very European-centric. Like, even ostensibly, I guess it was 10th grade, which is... How old was I? That'd be 15, 16 years old if you're not from the United States. I had a world history class, and essentially it was like European history. Like, I think they maybe gave, like, a little bit of a shout out to, like, oh, and by the way, there was, like, some stuff going on in China and Japan and Africa. But it's like, let's move on to talk about, like, England and France and all this other kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, and then, yay, America. You know what I mean? So it was that kind of thing. And like I said, I get it. There's only so much time, and the world's a big place, and the history is very long, so there's a lot of stuff you got to cover. But I do kind of feel like, and I don't really remember learning hardly anything about Mesoamerica at all, which is, like, really, really sad. So I had to, like, learn about a lot of that on my own, like, later on. Blaster One said, a lot of cats in Australia are considered vermin because they prey on native birds. I understand they can be a good addition to the family, though. I could never, ever think of, like, a cat as vermin.
Yeah,
they're just too cute to be vermin, sorry. But, I don't know. I have a really soft spot for all kind of animals. I have a hard time even, like, because I know that in Australia, they're like, oh, kangaroos, you can shoot them because they're considered vermin, or, bunnies and stuff like that. I'm like... I can't really kill any animal other than a cockroach. Fuck cockroaches. But other than that, shit, man, I can't even kill a fucking spider. So that's like how fucking soft I am about So I just can't imagine. I know cats kill birds. I know. And the thing about it is that, well, that's kind of why they kind of tell you over here, and I know people do it anyway, but if you have a cat over here, they generally try to tell you, like, look, if you have, like, mostly keep them inside. Like, don't let them run around loose in, like, the neighborhood. I know a lot of people do because, cats want to go outside, but they generally say if you have a cat, like, try to keep it inside because it kills everything. Like, if you let it run around outside at night, it kills birds and moles and all kind of fucking creatures. So, they're little serial killers. Cats are.
Here, that's not a big problem, though.
Yeah.
What happens here, you let them go and the fucking eagles get them.
Well, see, that's why I'm not really, I don't really like Pokey going outside. Beijing will go outside, but she doesn't, she just sits on the back porch. Pookie used to go outside at our old place, and I wasn't a fan of that, but she would complain until you let her out. She didn't go far. She would just kind of go a little bit, like, down the backyards and, like, sit by the pond. But in this new place, she seems less interested in going outside. I think it's because our neighbors have dogs that are usually, like, outside, and she's scared of dogs. So.
Okay, what time is it?
It is 7:44.
How long have we been streaming? Probably
1 hour and 49 minutes.
Okay.
And let's see. Cheryl says, "Awesome! I have an office tree." Yeah, one of these days I'll get a tree to go in here, so I can decorate it for different holidays. You know what I mean? I'd like to have a little, little Christmas tree, and well, like I said, that girl that I like on YouTube, Jade the Libra, she has a white Christmas tree, and she decorates it for Christmas, Halloween, and also she does like dark Valentine's Day. You know what I mean? Like she'll put like black hearts and like bats and stuff like that on it. It's like actually pretty cool looking. I used to work with a lady that had it wasn't like a full-size tree, but she just had like a little tree that was like a foot or two tall, and she like kept it on her desk, and she decorated for every holiday. She had like an Easter tree. She'd hang little eggs on it, and she'd hang little shamrocks and shit on there when it was fucking St. Patrick's Day, and she had like little ornaments for everything, which I like that idea, but I don't know. At the moment, like I said, I can't really justify the expense because, man, we were in fucking, what was it? We're Lowe's or Home Depot, or which one is it that's by us?
Lowe's.
Is it Lowe's? We were in Lowe's the other day buying some shit. I don't remember what it was. And I was looking at the fake trees, and holy shit, they want a lot of money for fake trees. I mean, I do like the ones that have the lights already built in them, because I remember being a kid, I used to really like to put up the Christmas tree at my grandma's house, but man, nobody wanted to put the lights on that shit, because whoa, how fucking tedious was that? Putting that, and nobody liked fluffing it either. That's the thing about the fake trees. You have to put it all together from last year. Then you got to like floof it back out so it looks all even. And that took forever. And then you had to like put all the lights on it, and then like half the fucking strings of lights didn't work. And then you had to go buy new ones at Walmart. And it was just a whole thing. It was a whole thing. So now they make the ones with the lights already built in them, and they're all even and stuff. But man, they cost like fucking $300. What's some of them like $300?
For what?
For those fake Christmas trees that had the lights already built into them.
Yeah, somewhere.
Some of them were like $300. Yeah. Like for the bigger ones. But even the smaller ones were like $140 or something like that. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't have $140. What the fuck do they think that? Like I said, I'm just going to cut one out of fucking paper and stick it on a wall or something. It doesn't look as cool, but jeez. The hell, you think I'm like fucking made of money? What do we look like? Millionaires? Yeah. Danny says, at least cats don't shit up in people's yards while the owner doesn't even clean it up. I hate dog walkers. Well, that's the thing. Okay, now, the house where we used to live, and I think I mentioned it before, we were like, the back of our house, like the backyard where we used to live had like the fence, and then it was like the Seminole Wekiva Trail, I think is what that was called. So it kind of goes through the whole county. We don't live in Seminole County anymore. Now we live in Lake County. But, so people would walk their dogs along there. I have to say, though, 99.99% of the people that walk their dogs on there cleaned up after their dogs. Like, you would see them, like, scooping. They had the little plastic bag, and they would scoop up the shit and everything like that. I'm like, well, good on you. I very, very, very rarely saw dog shit on that trail, which is mind-blowing. But yeah, people do kind of like walk their dogs and let their dogs kind of poop everywhere. So that is one thing. I mean, at least cats have the decency to bury their poop. There's that. Cheryl says, I got a cat. I can't keep it in too. If you don't let him out, he'll piss in your bed. That's what I mean. I think I don't know. I don't like letting cats run around outside. Not even so much, yeah, it sucks that they kill birds and other animals and stuff like that, but just because of danger to them. I don't want them to get run over by cars,
couldn't be killing that many.
Or things like, yeah, but I mean, yeah, one cat can't kill that many, but if everybody lets their cats out and like we're, you know, it's just kind of like, oh, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I'm just one person and I'm gonna throw this fucking candy wrapper on the ground. It's like, yeah, it's just one candy wrapper. But if every fucker does that, then there's gonna be candy wrappers everywhere.
That's just the way life is, though. I mean, animals eat each other.
Well, no, I'm just saying that if you have a pet cat, I just think it's generally better to keep them indoors.
Well, they're a domestic cat. They're a domestic animal.
Right.
Basically.
I mean, I don't really even at the old house, which was kind of safer, I didn't really like Pokey going outside, but she would complain if she didn't. Once we moved to this one, she didn't really seem all that interested in going outside anymore, which I was happy about.
I've been watching all these videos from these Eastern Europeans that I guess their laws are different. They allow them to have big cats. And they have, as long as they have their house set up properly, they can have a big cat. And they have guys that have American mountain lions and Black Panthers, and they keep it like a dog. I would have thought that those things were vicious, but no. Loving.
I mean, if you raise it from a baby, well, because the thing about it is that domesticated cats, they call it domesticated cats that people keep in their houses, they're not really that domesticated. They're not that far off of wild cats.
If anything,
they act similar.
This girl's got a Black Panther, and she keeps posting, and that thing looks more docile than a house cat. I would put it on par with a dog. But it grabs her and licks on her and gets in the bed with her. You know, just obviously just loves people. And they put a collar on it, and she goes out and walks it, and it goes up and greets people, and, you know, and I was kind of thinking, well, you know, the ancient Romans had those, kept them in their houses, so big lions. So I guess it's been going on for a long time.
Like I said, if you raise it from a kitten, so it just sees you as like its mom or like part of its little pride or whatever.
Well, what I thought was amazing is it saw people that it didn't know as friendly. She's got
I guess because it was raised around people, so it didn't see you as food.
She's got the thing on the leash, and it's just walking up to people and, you know, giving them a hug, stand up on the back leg, giving them a hug, licking them, going on to the next one.
That's badass.
Yeah,
let's go get a baby tiger. No, just kidding.
You can't. It was a leopard.
I don't have the resources for that shit.
Yeah, I guess you have to keep those things well fed.
Well, yeah, they eat a lot. Yeah. And they're very large.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Big as a human.
Yeah, well, bigger than a human.
Yeah. Well, it's a leopard, though. It's as big as a human. It's not as big as a tiger. A tiger is bigger than a human.
Yeah.
I'd say it's about the size of a human. Maybe 160 pounds. Size of a large, meaty dog, maybe, you know. But size of a Great Dane, maybe. Not even that tall. But all the behavior, facial expressions, the body language, like a cat, like a house cat. You can read the cat perfectly.
Like I said, they're not domesticated cats are not that different from wild cats as far as behavior goes.
Leopard looking at you with love in the face and love in the eyes, and come here. You just, you know what I mean. You just go, okay, that I can tell that animal's friendly. You know, on its back, pet my stomach, all that, pet my belly, all that, and. Some people say, well, that's dangerous. And you go, well, those fucking dogs are dangerous, too. If a dog gets pissed off, it can kill a human, you know? A human can kill a human. A dog can kill a human. Anything can kill anything. And from what I'm seeing of these damn cats, these big cats, they don't look any more dangerous than a big dog. You know, in terms of...
I mean, if you had a Great Dane that decided he didn't like you one day, you would also be fucked.
Yeah.
Because they were bigger than me.
Yeah. But they look chilled out to me. You know, they're... trusting it with the family children, playing with this thing, you know, and it's just the family. leopard,
I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but
they were.
I don't know.
Little kids playing with the leopard.
Maybe I'd feel different if I raised it like from a baby. Thank you, Ian England. Thank you very much for the super chat. It says wasabi, motherfuckers.
What's up?
And Danny earlier said, foxes like to eat cats. Yeah, I don't really like I don't like the thought of like Pookie running around outside because if she was outside and like something happened to her, I would just like never. I don't know.
All those animals are cute. Foxes are cute. Fucking wolves and coyotes are cute. They're all cute.
Yeah, they're all cute.
They're all cute. I don't believe in killing any of that shit. I used to kill that shit fucking when I was a kid. Shot coyotes and stuff. But, didn't know much about them. I had orders, Fucking coyotes are not supposed to be in the deer patch. Because they run the deer. They're just dogs. Like any other dogs, So
that's what I mean. That'd be like shooting a dog.
Yeah,
it's like who the fuck? Only a psychopath could shoot a dog.
Well, I wasn't thinking it that way at the time, But it's just like it's like shooting a dog. And then raccoons. I always thought raccoons were kind of vicious. Raccoons are friendly. They're vicious if they're cornered. They don't know you. But you can see pets. People that have them as pets. You can even feed wild ones, and they'll warm up to you. They got a guy who every day 30 of them show up to his house and he's handing out food, hot dogs and shit. He's got them all giving them names and they're like dancing and being clowns. Give me
the
have
hot
two of them
dogs.
side by side. Hot dog. So they're just little clowns, and most of those animals, if they get to know you, are friendly. So,
I mean, if you're a source of food and you're
Yeah.
being cool to them,
right.
then I don't see any reason why they would turn on
There's
you.
a big
Like, why
difference.
would they?
Big difference in the personality between prey animals, like deer and caribou. They reproduce in large numbers. They're used to being preyed on. They're not very intelligent compared to like predators and generalists. Like a dog is.
Well,
like a
and they're a
generalist.
lot more nervous
They're
because
nervous,
they have
yeah.
to be.
They have
Like, they're more skittish,
They were made to
too.
be that way. But those animals that are kind of like generalists or apex predators, they're a lot smarter, and you shouldn't really be fucking with them that much. I mean, I've seen those fucking golden pandas,
Yeah.
and isn't that called a red panda? Or a
Red
golden-
panda.
red
Oh my
panda?
god, that's like some of the world's
They can
cutest
stand
animals.
up on 2 feet like a person, and they're real friendly and intelligent. And humans fall in that same. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, you can't eat animals like a vegan or anything. No, you can eat them. It's just that there's a hierarchy in what should be eaten and what shouldn't be eaten. Things that don't reproduce in large numbers, predators, generalist type animals like bears and shit, don't eat them. There's not that many of them. They didn't evolve to be eaten. So they don't reproduce in large numbers, and they tend to be more intelligent. So I don't believe in eating those.
And even if you do eat animals, I mean, it should go without saying, but it's
Yeah.
like, make that animal suffer as little as possible.
Yeah, fast death. Was it halal slaughter? Fucking just not. Fucking don't eat them alive or try to fry them alive. I saw this dog festival in China, where a dude is trying to hold a fucking domesticated dog into the bottom of a searing hot pan, trying to cook it alive.
See, man, don't show me that kind of stuff.
To make it more tender. And I was just like, no, man, I can't.
Like I
handle
said,
it.
that's some psychopath shit
Psycho.
right there.
Only a psycho would
That's
do
a
that.
psychopath.
The dog's
shit right there.
begging. He's trying to put the lid on the fucking pot.
See, I don't understand how you could do that. Nobody,
I
so
don't
I'll
understand.
never be that hungry. Sorry.
No, I think that they were getting off on it.
I would starve before I would do that. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'd have to fucking go berserk in a situation like that. I'd let these dogs out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Fucking-
think I would too.
I'd hold that dude's head into the bottom of that pan.
Yeah.
As a come here, let's
Because
try
look,
and
man.
see how you like that.
Well, see, here's the
if
thing.
you want to eat the dog, kill the dog
And I know
first.
a lot of people think this
Yeah.
is fucked up because I think
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before, like particularly like in some of my horror movie reviews, because you
Yeah.
know how like a lot of horror movies will be like, oh, we're gonna show you how fucked up the shit is. We'll like
Yeah.
kill a cute cat or a dog or something like that. And I'm always just like, man, kill all the people you want in a horror movie. Like, leave the fucking cats and dogs alone, or the birds or the spiders or anything. And I know people think that's fucked up, but it's like, look. Humans are like, supposedly we have these complex brains and everything like that. We know better.
supposed to know better.
You're supposed to know better.
Yeah.
Animals generally do not. They're generally innocent. They just kind of do what they do. And I was just kind of like, I don't. That's like, it's like, to me, it's like killing a baby. It's like
Yeah.
killing a child.
Even
Is what that's like.
even those predatory big cats do not eat animals alive. They'll grab a gazelle by the throat and choke it out. They're not even fucking piercing the skin. They're just choking its windpipe and suffocating it before they eat it. You know, they're not eating that animal alive. Now, I have seen videos of one of them's choking it out, a zebra, and then another fucking lion is gonna I'm gonna get this leg and just start eating on it.
Start eating on the leg.
Eating on the leg. But that was not the intent. You know, they're competing over the food. When left to their own, the animal will kill a big cat will kill the animal before they eat it. You know, they won't eat it alive. But then I saw another Chinese dude. I don't want to pick on a Chinese, but they're bad at it. They eat things alive. Saw a dude reach in there and fucking grab a fucking live frog and start chewing it raw from the head first, because he thought it would cure him of fucking COVID, I think, or it was it was part of Chinese medicine. Now I know it's a frog. Frogs are pretty simple.
I don't even like that. To be honest,
why would you chew something from the head alive first? You know what I mean? I'm just gonna like.
I mean, just from like a gross point of view, that's just fucking gross. That's like some fear factor shit.
It's like that big. You know, it's a big frog.
Yeah, no thanks.
And I was just like, damn.
I don't want to be cured of anything that bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't. Well, that's the thing. Like, look, and I know you guys might think I'm weird, and look, I love seafood and stuff. I don't even like that whole we're gonna pop the lobster in the boiling water alive. I even kind of feel I don't feel good about that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, most cooks won't do that. They'll just take the damn knife and go right through the brain first.
Yeah, it's like do that. Like, don't put the shit in there alive. That's fucked up. Like, yeah, I know they're just like insects and all that, but still, I don't even like. Remember when we were talking the other day that I had watched that movie with the shad in it, Kingdom of the Spiders from the 70s. And I said in that I had forgotten, because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, but I had forgotten that some of them like actually did stamp on the tarantulas in there, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I like spiders. I don't, you know what I mean? Tom doesn't. But I like spiders, and particularly tarantulas. I'm just like, that's not cool. That's not cool. Not at all.
Saying some of the dogs are bred to be eaten. Yeah, but they weren't bred to be eaten by us. Okay? I could actually, breed humans to be eaten. Give me a bunch of humans.
Hey, I read a book like that called Tender is the Flesh. It's one of the most fucked up books I ever read.
It doesn't mean that you're supposed to do that.
If you haven't read it, read that book. It's fucked up.
A lot of what happened in China and Vietnam also, and even to a certain extent Thailand, was kind of unnatural with their dietary practices. Because communism totally fucking destroyed their normal fucking menu. And they started to do things like eating things they normally wouldn't eat. And they started eating bugs and shit, eating cockroaches. That wasn't normal. That was the extreme poverty and deprivation that came from cataclysms that happened during the Great Leap Forward, with fucking Mao's Great Leap Forward. So that wasn't their normal food.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. Like, if you're going to starve and that's, like, the only thing around, then, you know what I mean? It's like...
Right.
Because, look at, like, people have resorted to cannibalism, like, eating other humans, like, in dire situations. Like, no one's going to blame them for that.
But there was, like, I saw some Thai cooks, Thai chefs. They were cooking some fantastic shit. And people started bringing up the insects and all the weird stuff. And they're like, oh, no, that's not Thai food. They're like, that happened during a famine because of communism and fucking civil wars and shit that happened. It says that was not traditional Thai food. So that's not on their menu.
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff too, to be fair, is just like
shit.
Stunt stuff. Oh, well, and people remember it because it's weird.
Yeah.
So it's like, people aren't eating that all the time. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, then like, there was stuff in the South that was fucking not normal food, but some of it still lives on. Grits were not normal. Grits were something that we were eating. We made it out of damn cattle feed.
I mean, at least grits aren't kind of like
it's just corn
alive though. Yeah. It's not like eating a live frog or anything.
Yeah. We were using like cracked corn that you feed cattle. You put lye on that and a bunch of water in a barrel.
And it poofs up.
And it'll poof up, and then you can blend that, and then you can make something kind of like polenta out of it.
And then it's delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious, but that's why that stayed on. But that was more of a Civil War survival food, grits. And chances are, I believe, crawfish was not originally something that people were supposed to eat. They were called mud bugs. They're part of the southern cuisine now, but according to my grandmother, people didn't eat those. They weren't supposed to be eating those. Those were things that grew naturally in the runoff troughs on the either side of the roads, because we didn't have gutters. We had these little fucking, what'd you call those, Jenny? Ditches. They just called ditch.
Like a ditch.
There were ditches on either side of the roads that had fucking crawfish growing them, and people going there and getting them and cooking those, boiling them in spices like shrimp. They were like little bitty fucking lobsters, is what they were like. And evidently that wasn't like a respectable thing to do, to eat those, but they're around. It'd be like, you're not supposed to be eating armadillo, but you had people eating them. Now, eating an armadillo is about like eating a maggot. They're fucking filthy. They carry leprosy.
Well, they're just
they
little
eat carrion.
Yeah, that's just what their little niche is.
Yeah.
And they serve a purpose in nature, just like vultures do. And no one's eating vultures, but armadillos are essentially like vultures. They eat carrion.
My Cajun cousins.
Someone got to do it.
My Cajun uncles and cousins would eat the shit out of those things.
I can't imagine that would taste good.
They would eat them. Fucking diller on the half shell is what they call it. They serve.
They just ate that shit because it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Because it's roadkill.
Scrape
it
running
off the
them
side
over.
of the
They'd
road.
see him on the road and run him over. Bam, get him. And then they'd fucking make that.
Yeah, I can't.
And they'd fill it up with like fucking stuffing, like turkey dressing type stuff. And fucking put it all back in the shell.
I'd have to
and
be real hungry to be.
And then they'd fucking with Cajun spices and shit. They thought it was fucking great.
Well,
I wouldn't eat that.
No, I wouldn't either.
But I'm not a Cajun though. They fucking eat everything.
Zach says, "Would you guys ever own a dog?"
Depends on depends.
I'm not averse to owning a dog, but
Dogs are outside creatures for the most part.
I kind of feel like I've always been a cat person more than anything. We had like a couple of dogs growing up. I was never a big fan of dogs. Like, I love dogs, but I was never a big fan of owning one. To me, they seem too needy. They're too labor intensive. Just, it's more like having, well, I don't know. I don't want to say that because having Pookie is kind of like having a kid too. But she's very dog-like for a cat.
Yeah.
She's like a lot needier than a normal cat would be. But even she is like, will sleep most of the time. But still, like when she's awake, she's totally up in your face, like one to get involved in everything you're doing. So she's kind of like a dog in that way. But I don't know. I've never been a big fan of like having dogs. I had some when I was a kid, like my family had them, but we mostly had cats, and I'm just more of a cat person. Cats are more like my personality, I guess. They're kind of more, I don't want to say they're aloof because all of them aren't, but they're kind of more independent, you know what I mean? And I kind of like that better. Louis says bears eat their prey alive. And Ben says there's a Chinese TikToker who got into all sorts of trouble for eating a live shark on screen.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I get you're trying to get views and everything like that, but that's just like stunting. And, you know,
Well,
why? I don't. Why would you do that? I can't.
The Chinese
like, eat
have
alive.
this thing for eating fresh food, and
God,
eating
I
it
can't.
alive is as fresh as it can be.
Well, I get
I
that,
guess.
but
And I saw a fucking video of one dude. He's fucking walking. He's got a damn raccoon, and he's holding it by the tail upside down and walking it. And the raccoon's like, "Let me go, let me go."
it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
And fucking Sea Milk, the guy who's making the videos, he was an American guy. He said, "What is that? What are you doing with that?" And he goes, and he called it in the subtitles tree dog. He says, "I'm gonna eat this tree dog," you know, and he's like, "Oh dog. Man," but fucking, I don't know how he got that raccoon. They were out in the woods. Just caught a raccoon by hand, I guess. No, but man, you can eat raccoons. There's not much meat there, and it's not real good quality meat, why are you bothering? That's fucking survival level, you know?
Like I said, if you're out, like, in the woods and you're starving to death, yeah.
I can understand it, but...
Okay, but, like, other than that, why would you?
It's not very good quality meat, you know what I mean? And there's so much easier things to eat. I mean, it's so easy to fish and to catch fish. And it's much better quality meat than raccoon.
Yeah.
Raccoon's kind of lean and gamey and tough. And there's not much meat there. You know what I mean? There's probably... Cat would probably be better than raccoon.
Don't
that's
even
not
put
saying
that
much.
image in
Well, I'm
my
not
mind.
even saying that that's saying much. You know what I mean? That's just not a good food animal. You know? There's not much
Well,
meat
like
there.
we said, in general, predators are not good food animals.
Yeah, they're
in
not
general,
very good to eat, yeah.
In general. Like I said, if you're starving to death, then that's different. Then, you know, you just eat whatever you can get your hands on. But, like you said, I don't...
The easiest meat you can get in the wild, and I'm telling you all, I got experience in this shit, is fish.
Yeah.
It's so easy to catch
I mean, if
fish.
you're by... And you don't even have to, like...
So easy.
But you just, like, run a fucking trot line.
You don't even have to fucking sit out there with it's more fun and kind of more expedient, you know, if you want to get something right now, to fucking go ahead and throw a lure in there. And you don't even need to buy a lure. You can make a lure. You don't even need a rod. You don't even need a rod. All right? You look how Africans fish out in Africa. They'll just have the line, and they'll sit there and they'll like that and throw the fucking line, the lure out into the water and pull it in with their hands. And then they'll wrap it around something round that they'll find, like that. And then they'll fight the fish that way. And they might have a glove on, or they may not even, you don't even need a reel. You can just do it with a line, you know. And they'll bring in a fish that big and just sit there, and then in a few hours have 3 or 4 of those. Man, that's a fucking meal.
Yeah.
Right? And it's easy to clean. It cooks quickly.
It tastes good.
It tastes good. You don't need much
And it's good for you.
seasoning. And yeah, it's real good. So the water is the easiest way to get food. There's so many fucking little sea creatures and fucking water creatures. Or you make a fucking crab trap, which is easy to make.
Yeah, I mean, me and my dad used to crab trap when I was a kid.
You can just have a damn 2-liter bottle and put a hole in it, or something big with a hole in it, and put a little bit of meat in the bottom of it and wire it in there and throw it in on there on a line and pull it up every now and then, and you'll find fucking crabs in it. You know, you throw them into a fucking bucket of water until you got enough of them. You're gonna boil them crabs up. You know, there's just all kinds of free food out there if you're hungry. Eating shit like fucking raccoons and squirrels is a waste of time. You can kill 100 squirrels and barely get a decent meal out of it. You know,
It just seems like too much trouble.
too much trouble. Yeah.
Fish is like so much easier. And there's so much more meat, and it's so much more nutritious.
Well, the nutrition's good on all of it. It's just that there's more of it, and it's easier, and it doesn't take as long to cook, and it's
And to be fair, it's
nice
not
and light and
it's,
flaky.
it's
It
not
tastes
as
better.
cute.
Yeah, it's
too.
not a cute creature. It's easier.
I mean, I have seen some
It's
cute
easier-
fish. I'm not saying that, but I'm
it's
just saying
easier
in
to
general,
get. It's
they're
just
not
easier.
fuzzy.
It's easier to get.
Yeah,
You know, fish.
yeah, fish is much easier. So you're kind of hosed if you don't like seafood, though. Like
And
my
trot line is
like
the
my-
easiest way.
like my sister, she doesn't.
And you
like
don't have to take the trot line away. It's just a big old fucking rope.
Yeah, you just leave it there all the time. It's
Yeah.
like
It's
low
just,
maintenance.
just a rope going across the water from one tree to the next.
Just go check it every now and then.
Fishing line, about 3 feet of it, with a hook on the end of each one of them. You just pull it up every now and then. You're gonna see a fucking fish on there. You can swim out there and get the fish if you have to, or you can have somebody over there untie and pull it in. It's better to just swim out there and get him. You know, which you may not want to do that if it's real cold. But if it's in the south and it's hot, getting in that water is not a big deal. Just strip down. You know,
Don't get eaten by alligator.
yeah, strip down, and you might instead of underwear have shorts on underneath instead of your underwear, and fucking just go out there and go get him and fucking get the fish off, put him on a fucking fishing what do you call it? Oh shit, what do you call him? Just put a fucking string through its gill. You know what I mean? And then fucking put him down there so he's all on the end of a line and swim back with the fish. That's easy. And then you have a fucking take him home and clean those fish. Have all kinds of food. You know. You'll never go hungry if you got water around.
I mean, to be honest, if somebody told me that I couldn't eat like chicken or beef or anything like that, but I could just eat fish, I would miss like steak and turkey and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be all that upset, like, because I really, really like seafood a lot.
Now here's the problem. Some people are saying, well, if the apocalypse ever happens, you know what I mean, I'll just get my fucking rifle and I'll go hunt fucking deer. And it doesn't work that way, because it's not going to be just you out there in that situation. It's going to be millions of people out there, and you're going to eat up the fucking land. It's the same with the fish, okay, depending on where you live. But you have to be somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Because although you got to look at it this way, there were fucking famines happening in the Soviet Union, and there were people up in the country of Russia that didn't even know that it was happening, because it was mostly only happening to people that were in cities and towns, and they were reliant on that system. But there were people up in the fucking Siberia or fucking in the fucking country. They didn't even know there was a fucking. They didn't even know that there was a fucking communist takeover of the government. They were just living in fucking shacks, you know, log cabins.
Ian England said the absolute worst feeling I ever had killing something was a little barn owl. Guy hit it on the highway and it ripped off one of its wings.
Oh yeah.
Conservation guy called me and asked me to take care of it. Man, I love owls, and like barn owls are so fucking cute. They're with their little heart-shaped faces and stuff. Oh, I would be like fucking heartbroken if I hit one with the car. Yeah. Like we were coming back from the club. Well, no, we weren't actually. I think we were. Yeah, maybe we were coming back from somewhere like one night, and I think we hit a raccoon, and I still feel bad about that. Yeah. We couldn't avoid it. There was like a bunch of them like crossing.
Yeah.
Wait. So it's like Tammy says, owning a dog is like having a permanent baby.
Yeah.
And Cheryl said, dog is like having a toddler. I like both, but the dog is way more in your face. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Pookie is in your face when she's awake. Like, she sleeps a lot during the day because she's a cat. But when she's awake, I mean, she'll jump on my desk. She sits on my keyboard so I can't get any work done.
Someone says she shits on your keyboard. That's what it sounded like you said.
No, she sits on my keyboard. Yeah. She hasn't shit on my keyboard.
Yeah, sounded like you said that.
No, she jumps up on the desk, and then like she kind of like she parks. She like kind of lays out like that, and she's like, "What? Oh, you wanted to type? No, you're not allowed to." And then she's like, and then she falls asleep. So I'm going like that, like typing over here. It's like that. So.
Well, you want to go ahead and shut it down? We've been on for how long? Probably almost 3 hours.
2 hours and 21 minutes.
I think we can shut it down. I'll make us something to eat.
You hungry?
Yeah, we'll make us something.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry.
Okay.
Zach says, I do wish cats showed affection like dogs do.
Cats do.
They do. I think it depends on the cat.
Yeah.
Because I have heard people saying it's like, oh, cats are so aloof and stuff like that. I think that's maybe people that... Because cats are individuals like people are. Like dogs are too, I guess. And if you've always had cats that were kind of aloof, because when I was growing up, we always had cats that were kind of like that. But since we've had Pookie, she's a lot different than a lot of other cats.
And try to get up on your chest and look at you. You awake? And
she's just always, whatever you're doing, if you make a noise anywhere in the house, she's going to come and see what you're doing.
Yeah.
She's going to jump up in that shit, being like, what are you doing? Can I help you in some way? Or... Can I, like, help you put the laundry away or just roll around in it or something?
Like, what's this? What are you putting together? What's a bookcase? And then, then he freaks out. She's, whoa, you're making noise. And then she runs back, You okay? Yeah, she's funny.
Like, yeah. I mean, I'll be in here in the office, and, like, I hear her, like, she comes around the corner from, like, the bathroom. Row, 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 row. And I'm just like, what? What do you want? Yeah. And she's just like, she wants to jump up on the sink so I can brush her. That's what
affection to a cat is you pet me. You pet me.
Yeah.
You pet me. That's
well, me and her have a headbutt thing.
Yeah.
Like she'll do it with Tom sometimes, but that's like me and her thing.
Okay, they're asking for Night of the Comet review. All right, we'll get around to it eventually. We'll get around to Night of the Comet.
Yeah, we will. I think it's actually on it might be on Tubi actually, because I might have put it in the poll that went up this morning, if I remember correctly, because I think isn't it set at Christmas time? Yeah, it's set at Christmas time. So I think I put it in the poll. So if you're on Patreon, go vote for it, and we'll talk about it. Although, like I said, we still haven't done the movie retrospective for this week. which was supposed to be Chinatown, but it'll go up tomorrow probably.
I'm gonna go start getting stuff to eat ready. Okay.
What you gonna make?
I don't know. I'm gonna go see what we have.
We're gonna go see what we have.
Yeah, I already got macaroni and cheese made.
Well, we had a little bit of that a few hours ago, but okay, that sounds good. All right. So hopefully you guys have a good Friday night and have a good day tomorrow. Like I said, Sunday we'll be back doing a movie review. It'll probably be Pulp Fiction because, like I said, Louis, thank you very much. Louis sent us Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, which we already did. And somebody asked, like David June asked us to do Hateful Eight also, so we might do that as well. And we will probably end up doing Night of the Comet. I have been wanting to do Night of the Comet for a long time, so, you know, it's not just coming out of nowhere. All right, so we'll see you guys again on Sunday. I'm going to try and get some videos put up tomorrow. Hopefully our Chinatown review will get put up tomorrow. And my best horror movies of 1979 will either go up tomorrow or Sunday, like whenever I get it. Like I started writing it, but I haven't like recorded it yet, but it'll probably go up this weekend sometime too, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, we'll see you guys again on Sunday, so have a good weekend up until then. Good night.